Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We're streaming out live on X, Rumble, YouTube, as well as BitChute Live. We're also on 21st Century Wire, of course, with our chat room there, with our loyal readers and listeners, and also at alternatecurrentradio.com and featuring the ACR chat room as well. So we've got quite a big community dialed into this program. This is episode 581 of this weekly omnibus television and radio program. Again, I am your host, Patrick Henningsen. We have quite an important discussion to have this week. There's been a lot that's gone on over the last 7 days. We had a little bit of a lull the previous week, not too many earth-shattering things. We had time to reflect, and then the latest tranche of Epstein emails was released just over a week ago, and then this week it's just been one revelation after another, and we're going to show you some of those important revelations. We're also going to feature some of the work of our journalists at 21stcenturywire.com, namely Freddie Ponton, who has done some absolutely sterling investigative work and research going into these emails, and we've been doing quite a lot in this department. We're going to share some of our findings with you. And we're sort of ahead of the mainstream media because as we publish at 21st Century Wire, then there's a mainstream story that's almost identical to ours that appears 24 or 48 hours later. That happened once, possibly twice already this week. So who knows? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Probably just a coincidence. Nothing to see here. Move along. So we're going to get into that. And then in the overdrive, we're going to be joined by, I think we're going to have a full house today. Starting with our crew down in Texas. Hesher is going to be joining us, as well as Ruckus, and they're going to be joining us in the overdrive segment. And then Basil Valentine is also going to be weighing in about how the Epstein Files have affected and potentially destabilizing the UK government, Keir Starmer's government. So that's quite an incredible story. We'll get into the details on that as well. But before we begin on the task at hand, we have to do some housekeeping, and really important housekeeping. I'm going to come straight out of the gates, and the gates, not those gates. We'll get onto that gates in a minute, but not that gates. No, the straight out of the proverbial gates. And so it's winter fundraising drive 2025, 2026. Okay, I told you guys last week we're close to hitting our mark, and I said we're going to hit our mark by today, and lo and behold, we have hit our goal. And I want to give a shout out to some of the people who have helped to make that happen. Look at this. Yeah, we've gone over. So let me just update this dial here, and there it is. The dial's been updated. We have passed our goal of $15,000 for the winter fundraising drive. We started this over Thanksgiving weekend, as we said, and we do this every year. This helps to basically fund and keep the operation going for the coming year. So for 2026, this is what we needed to pay staff, make sure that we have all of our hosting and subscriptions and security, as well as content creators as well. So all of that comes out of this budget, okay? So we had to plug some serious gaps, and you guys have come through for us in a massive way. Now, I want to read and just recognize some of the people who have helped to make this happen, and one person in particular who got us over the hump. I want to especially recognize them. So we're gonna do this straight off the bat. Now, these are the donations that have come in the last sort of 10 days or so. Okay, so I want to give a shout out and just recognize first names, of course. But we have some new members. Sanai, Cynthia as well, donation. Jerry, donation. Big up to Jerry. Jerry's a mate. Paul R. and Paul M. One membership, one donation there. Another member, William. I believe here, yes, William and Joel, donation from Joel. Sherry as well. These are other donations. Cynthia and Fiona. James, Alan, Carlos, thank you very much. Nice, well, amazing. And Moya, thank you, Moya. And Susan F, a big membership, actually, lifetime membership. She took out a lifetime membership. Amazing, amazing. Jane, Jane L, James O, core membership for James. James O, thank you, James. Really appreciate that. Donation from Michael B, Janet P, Marcia S, and another donation from a chap by the name of Sean, who is a major supporter, to say the least, who hails from the great state of Arizona. Thank you, Sean. Daniel H, John K, massive donation from John. Thank you, John, very much. And let me see, there's one more. Anne, she gave us a one-time donation. Amazing, amazing. That's not all. That's not all. We've got more here. Hold on. Let me bring up the rest of this list. Wow, more. Dolores, John H, all donations. David P, Michelle P, Angie, Janie, donation, core annual membership. Thank you so much. And Harvinder, Kirk, Ian, Karen, Cynthia, Doug R, Kathy B, Jagdeep, Dr. Mary, Dr. Ann, actually. Thank you, Ann. Amazing. John, Marcus, and I want to give a special shout out to Sandeep, because Sandeep put us over our goal. It was Sandeep's donation that came in, and it was a significant donation. Thank you so much, Sandeep. You pushed that dial. You see that dial there? You pushed that over the edge. Thank you, Sandeep. Amazing. Mark D, another donation. Angela G, Guy. Thank you, Guy. And Jason, also Phoebe, Daniel H. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. There's a few stragglers here. Wow, can't forget. Andre, thank you, Andre, core membership. Amazing. And also a donation from Matt G. Very generous donation as well. These are all generous donations. You guys have been amazing. People have responded. You know, this is like one of the best responses, maybe the best we've ever had for a winter fundraising drive. We normally have to extend it a few weeks to hit our goal. We did it almost, which we wanted to by the end of January, with just a week over, which is fantastic. It's phenomenal. Thank you so much. You guys, this means a lot, and this means that we're going to be able to do what we need to do, not just to keep the doors open for this independent media platform, but to excel. And we have been excelling. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've been doing to excel briefly as well. We're going to be showing you some of the content that we have been doing over the previous periods, and we're going to be sharing that with you. Sorry, some people are trying to contact me. I'm going to have to silence those. But so anyway, we're going to share some of the content with you again that we have been featuring. So yes, we hit that target. We'll bring that back up on screen. There we are. We've hit our target, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you to everybody who stepped up. We're going to leave the winter fundraising drive going, and if we can hit into that red zone a little bit further this week, we'll be sending out email to our list as well, so you guys might see some contact from us on this, and we'll see if we can do a little bit more. Then we'll be able to, I think, be better resourced for this year. So if you haven't got involved and you want to get involved, please consider supporting us for the winter fundraising drive. Thank you very much once again. And this is our Sunday screening here This is very topical to our discussion today. Jeffrey Epstein, the unredacted story. This is mainly a documentary that's focused around victims' testimonies, witness testimonies. It's very compelling and interesting, and I think essential background if you want to get to see this side of what this Epstein scandal is about. But it's, as we've seen this week, there's so much more now, and you know, the geopolitical ramifications of this, his actual role as a fixer um, for the elites, involved in all kinds of money laundering, financial crimes, grift. He was even leveraging, probably using his blackmail and connections to leverage uh, massive payments for himself by inserting himself as a middleman in a number of situations, including doing work for the Rothschilds, dirty work for the Rothschilds banking dynasty, believe it or not. So that's up at 21stcenturywire.com, the Sunday screening there. Jeffrey Epstein, the unredacted story. You can go catch that up on our website. We do that every week. We feature a documentary film at 21stcenturywire.com. So you want to visit our website, especially, well, where Sundays is always, one of our busiest days. But we've been very busy during the week. Now we're going to get to the task at hand here. Before we do that, I want to shout out to this interview I did with Mike Adams. Mike Adams of Natural News fame. And Mike did a two-part interview with me. The first part is up on our website, which he posted at Bryan. This is his video sharing platform, and also Rumble. And we really just talk about the coming war, what Trump wants to do and Israel wants to do regarding Iran. And very good discussion. Mike is very, very on the ball with everything that's happening, and also on the military side as well. Very impressed with his knowledge there. That's a very frank and open interview. I would say very candid, and appreciate that. Mike is a great voice, a great icon, really, of the independent media. What else can we say? So it was a pleasure to link up with him after a very long time, and hopefully we'll be able to do more, perhaps. So, okay, one second. We're going to take an intermission. We're going to take an intermission. We've got some interference coming on the line. I'm afraid I'm going to have to. Yep, sorry about this, folks. One second. Okay, welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Sorry about that. We had technical difficulties. Had an audio issue, and just about sorted that out. So yeah, so we're back. So as I was saying, this interview with Mike Adams is up on 21st Century Wire. It's also up on Mike's Health Ranger Report Rumble channel as well. So do check that out. Very good discussion that we had. Really good discussion as well. So now, and yeah, in terms of the Iran war, I mean, I hate to have, we have so many ghouls on the loose, We've got Mike Pompeo. We've got all these Israeli stooges that are basically embedded in the U.S., the Trump administration. I mean, it's just swarming with Israeli operatives, spies, stooges. I mean, he's basically married to the mob. His son-in-law, of course, answers to Benjamin Netanyahu. So it doesn't get any worse than this. This is somebody at Fox News. His name's Mark Levine. And if you haven't seen Mark's show on Fox, don't worry, because I don't know anybody else that actually watches it either. So, don't feel like you're missing out on anything. But he is probably one of the most annoying, has kind of a high-pitch, squealy voice. I mean, one of the most annoying kind of voices for television. He had a radio show, but it's very hard to listen to. You have to be on heavy sedation medication to listen to Mark Levine on the radio. I mean, either that or you're a drunk driver and you shouldn't be on the road anyway. But this is what Mark Levine, he's trying to intimidate Trump. He's the one that called Donald Trump America's first Jewish president. This is Mark Levine. So he's saying it's time to military attack Iran. He's saying if we can't get our military assets fully in place in 5 weeks to attack Iran, a regime with virtually no Navy or Air Force and a massive internal unrest, not true, then we have a very serious problem. After all, we're not talking about China or Russia. So this is the sort of, he even makes Lindsey Graham look like somewhat of a dove. He's like demanding that the United States of America and the U.S. taxpayers wage a war against Iran, who hasn't attacked America, that the only reason there's a case to make a war on Iran is because Israel deems them to be a threat. Ergo, that means that, we must attack Iran, basically. So that's Mark Levine. I mean, it's constantly. So they have this full court press on Trump right now, and they're really pushing him hard. I'm not 100% sure if Israel wants the United States to attack Iran, because it would be an unprovoked attack, and Iran has already stipulated very clearly that it would regard this as an attack not just by America but by Israel, and therefore it would hit U.S. targets in the region as well as in Israel. And yeah, so I think they're negotiating right now. There's a U.S. envoys talking to the Iranians. They might even have sent the magic man, Steve Witkoff. We're not sure. Between the property deals, the golfing outings, it's hard for, obviously, these people to fit this into their schedule, multiple wars going on. But yeah, so anyway, Mark Levine, it's just disgusting. But so here's the U.S. virtual embassy in Iran. Obviously, the U.S. doesn't have a diplomatic presence in Iran. This is called the virtual embassy. Very weird. But anyway, this is what they're saying, or this is what Trump is saying here. And he's screaming here, leave Iran now, any U.S. citizens. Avoid demonstrations. Keep a low profile. And stay alert to your surroundings. They're also saying, if you cannot leave, find a secure location within your residence or another safe building. I mean, how safe can a building be if the U.S. is bombing it? Have a supply of food, water, medication, and other essential items. I mean, who are they signaling here? Are they signaling to U.S. agents or agent provocateurs that are in Iran? It's just very strange. Keep your phone charged and maintain communications with family and friends to inform them of your status. Monitor local media for breaking news. Be prepared to adjust your plans. Avoid, this is from the U.S. So it's basically saying, everything other than we are getting ready to bomb this country, basically. It's basically saying that. So this is just insane, folks. This is just insane. So Iran hasn't done anything to the United States, but the United States has attacked Iran. The United States is boasting that it destroyed Iran's economy. The Treasury Secretary, George Soros's banker, Scott Bessent. Soros's banker is Trump's Treasury Secretary. Anyway, Bessent saying he's bragging that they did a run on the Iranian currency and caused the riots. And Trump was also bragging about this. He said, the country, because of us, the country's a mess. We've done so well in destroying the country. So they're admitting what previous administrations in America used to not admit publicly, but do anyway. And everybody kind of knew, a wink and a nod, that, these color revolutions were bad news. And here we have the sort of open agenda is laid bare for the world to see. What can we say? It's not good. So, the bottom line is this. We do not want to see a regional war because it could lead to a world war, and a world war could feature this, which is tactical or strategic thermonuclear weapons. And if that happened, why? What's the point? Why? Because this would be a point of no return for the planet. And if if retaliation starts spinning off, we get a nuclear winter. Unless you're Mark Zuckerberg and you have $100 million to spend on an underground bunker in Kauai, turfing off all the natives, by the way, when he did it. Unless you've got that money to spend, if you're an elite, you can afford an island like Jeffrey Epstein or Richard Branson or some of these other tech moguls, or a ranch in Paraguay with an underground bunker, etc., 2 years of supplies to basically ride out what is effectively going to be a nuclear winter, then you're screwed, basically. And if it does happen, why? Why would it happen? For what? For what? Because of this? Because we have to stand with Israel. The United States must stand with Israel, even if it means the end of humanity. These people are certified lunatics, Mark Levine and the rest of them. Christian Zionists, Jewish Zionists, whatever Zionists, okay, insane. Completely insane. This is crazy. And they seem to be focused on Iran. And why? Because this is the one country in the Middle East that's sticking up for the Palestinian people as they're getting genocided. It's the only country in the Middle East that's willing to fight for and really try to defend or do something to help the Palestinian people. The only country. Now, there's others that have had solidarity. Of course, the previous Syrian government under Bashar al-Assad. For some reason, the new al-Qaeda government, the one that Trump loves so much in Syria, they don't care about the massacring of Palestinians. I find it to be quite extraordinary, but that tells you all you need to know. So is it worth it? I don't have to ask you that question. You know the answer. It's the same answer I have, which is no, it's not. So today's show theme, the Epstein Files. These are imperiling U.S. dominance, U.S. and Israeli power and hegemony. It's being compromised in a massive way by the Epstein Files. Why is that? Now you have countries openly mocking the United States for basically protecting pedophiles. A government that is infested with corrupt spooks, agents, blackmailers, pedos. This is how the world is viewing the West, okay, and specifically the United States, because Epstein, the network is just vast, and we'll show you some examples of this. But if America doesn't have the respect, it is basically being viewed as a criminal enterprise, because this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, was everywhere. He's best friends with Donald Trump. He is best friends with Bill Gates. He is buddy-buddy with Elon Musk, as we showed you last week. And that's just the beginning of it. He's basically doing financial dirty laundry for the Rothschild banking dynasty. And on it goes. He's got compromise on everybody. He's pulling money out of deals. He's inserting himself as a middleman, finder's fees, whatever. It's incredible. And he's allowed to do that because of the service he provides for the elite. Much like Jimmy Savile. He was a procurer of things that investment bankers, presidents, high-ranking politicians, other figures, science figures, academics, mainly finance, politics. He's very involved in all that, plus the spy world. So we got, well, just to show you, just show you the level of this. This is what Vladimir Putin said. This is a very famous recent comment Putin gave. And listen closely to what he is saying, because if Putin is saying this about the U.S. and the West, just imagine what all the other African countries, Asian countries, South American countries, people know. We've tried to cover it up because our press is corrupt and normalize this. And this is, it's not a Russian scandal, folks. Epstein, they're trying to paint it as such this week. It's not. It's pretty clear what the links are. And this is devastating for U.S.-Israeli power. Epstein, for whatever reason, I don't know why these emails were dumped. Why half this stuff has seen the light of day. I can tell you why I think it was released. Because it didn't have to be released, no matter how many people are screaming for it. But we can talk about that maybe now or possibly in overdrive. But here's Vladimir Putin. Listen closely to what he's saying. Let me bring this clip up.
In the world, they are looking at what's happening in our country, what's happening in our struggle for our interests. And here is an important thing. Why is it happening? Not because we are formally a BRICS member or we have some traditional relations with Africa, which is also important as well. But the gist of it is different. The gist of it is that the so-called golden billion for centuries, for 500 years, they have practically lived off of other peoples. They were ripping apart these poor peoples, poor nations of Africa. They exploited Latin America. They exploited the countries of Asia. And of course, no one forgets this. And I have a feeling that it's not even about the leaders of these countries, even though it is a very important thing, but the common people of these countries. In their heart, they can feel what's happening. They can see our struggle for our independence, for our true sovereignty. And they see this connection with their aspirations to be truly independent, which is exacerbated by the fact that in the Western elites, there is a strong desire to freeze the current unfair state of things in international affairs. For centuries, They've been stuffing their stomachs with human flesh, and they've been stuffing their pockets with money, but they must realize that this ball of vampires is about to end.
So Putin's saying the vampire's ball is about to end. That's what he said. That's what he said, folks. And he's not a clown, unlike our president that we have in the United States, who is a certified clown, a moron, somebody who doesn't read. Donald Trump doesn't read. Donald Trump doesn't read anything. Donald Trump doesn't know what the contents of the Iran nuclear deal was that Obama passed, the JCPOA. He doesn't know anything about the deal. But he says, it's a terrible deal. It's a terrible deal. What Obama, another bad deal from Obama. So right now, Trump is trying to negotiate with the Iranians to get a nuclear deal that's exactly the same as the JCPOA, only with less countries acting as guarantors. No countries at the moment will be acting as guarantors. So this is the deal. He said, it's a terrible deal. Blah, 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 and drag us to the brink of World War III because Israel said tear up the deal. I don't trust a word this president in Washington is claiming he's saying with regards to this new nuclear deal. He said he destroyed the nuclear weapons, didn't he? Back in June. Guess not. Or maybe, who knows? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter with Trump. So there's Putin. The vampire ball is over, says Vladimir Putin. Okay. So, yes, the Epstein email dump. Best friends, besties. These are just some of the most unsavory people are caught up in this, including Alan Dershowitz. And there's just too many names to mention. Everybody is talking about it. You know, my biggest fear is that the reason these emails, millions of documents were dumped, and many of them have been removed by the DOJ, by the way, because they were too salacious or they implicated some famous politician or celebrity. So they've taken them away. But was this done by Israeli-controlled interests in the DOJ? Like Pam Bondi was a lobbyist for Israel before she was handpicked to be Attorney General. Just saying. It says, people say, oh, she was a Qatari lobbyist. No, her lobbying firm did lobbying for Israel as well. And probably more, that's the key component of that. So she was handpicked by Netanyahu. That was all set up to put her in, partly to cover up the Epstein files. But not only was there a lot of pressure from the MAGA base, from Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, it was a bipartisan effort to release this, but for Israeli factions within the U.S. government, which is 3/4 of the U.S. government, operate as an extension of Israel. This is Netanyahu's way of pushing Trump as well to attack Iran, because it seems like Trump's gotten cold feet or is not moving fast enough, and then all of a sudden, boom, these emails are released. So make of it what you will. I can't say I know for sure what the reason behind this is. It could also be just to vent all of this and let it burn itself off and then move on to the war after that. Or perhaps this could backfire, and this could hurt Trump to such a degree that support for him going to war with Iran, unprovoked war of aggression, is going to be hurt by the fact that Israel is so tied up in these Epstein files, and Israel is the one that's pushing this government in the U.S. to attack Iran. So the problem here is Israel. The number one problem in the Middle East is Israel. The number one problem in Washington is Israel. And the Epstein files, the number one factor is Israel. So it's hard to get around this obvious conclusion, okay? Now, we've done some reporting here, and we have to tip our hat as well to the Global Affairs Department. This is a very important part of our operation, which we've been building up over the last year. And this was the first sort of report I'll point you to anyway, Pandemics for Profit. Jeffrey Epstein was a pandemic power broker, and this is featuring the work of Sire G, who is fantastic health freedom advocate in that space, but he did a very good report, and we link to his Substack here. And that's really, really key to people understand. Epstein was deeply involved with Bill Gates in planning this fake pandemic. Fake pandemic. So all you people that were worshiping at the altar of COVID-19, like this submicroscopic particle that nobody could ever find, but there are plenty of cartoons of COVID, spike proteins that don't exist. Just understand one thing. Behind that whole fiction is people like this. Jeffrey Epstein, working with blackmailing, or who knows, with Russian hookers and Bill Gates. Okay? Just know that when you put your mask on and locked yourself down and got jabbed to high heaven, that one of the reasons you had to do that was because Epstein and Gates were basically plotting to create this global pandemic, which they all made out like bandits on. Tons of money were made on this. And not only that, but, you know, from the Gates-Epstein point of view, maybe, you know, killing a few million people is not a bad thing in their eugenics sort of worldview. Obviously, there's some religious superiority or racial superiority going on there, along with other type of machinations that go with eugenics. So that's the first one. Now, this is the other one here. So Tom Barak is Trump's go-to man in the Middle East. Well, he is in the Epstein Files 544 times. Freddie Ponton, 21st Century Wire, zero accountability, the dark ties between Tom Barak and Jeffrey Epstein. Look at them in a Turkish bath. That's Ehud Barak there on the left-hand side with the glasses. Ex-Israeli PM, head of Israeli intelligence, there with Jeffrey Epstein in the middle, and then Tom Barak, Trump's fixer, billionaire, Trump's fixer. He is basically trying to start a civil war in Lebanon and trying to hand over South Lebanon to Israel. So that's Trump's, really working for Israel. So he's thick like thieves with Epstein. Another one. That's the top Middle East guy for Trump. Right in there with Jeff, doing deals, besties. So Trump is up to his neck in this. And how much of the Trump administration is really the Epstein administration, if you think about it? Okay, so that's up at 21st Century. Great job, Freddie. Oh, but it just gets better, doesn't it? Next. Buried in the DOJ files, Epstein was a fixer for the Rothschild banking dynasty. Wow. And so the Rothschilds got into, Arian Rothschild here, got into a real bind. This is one of those Swiss investment banks there, Edmund Rothschild, I think is the name of the bank. And they got tied up in a huge money laundering scandal involving the Malaysian government and sovereign wealth fund. Huge. These people are criminals, and they launder large sums of money through what seemingly legitimate channels. Okay. So, you know, and so Jeff was helping reduce, it seems like he was working with her. This is what it appears from the emails, to reduce their fine, because there was a U.S. DOJ investigation into this banking fraud and laundering. And Jeff somehow pulled some strings and got the fine reduced, and they cut him in on a commission. I think he made $25 million on that deal, just getting their fine reduced. Emails, receipts, all there. Great research. again. So this one appeared in the Financial Times as well. So we sort of technically got there first. But yeah, they didn't beat us, that's for sure. Anyway, that's the sort of work, but this is even better. Now this one, the Lutnick deception, the island email that won't go away. Howard Lutnick is Donald Trump's handler, okay? So Israel has installed Lutnick, his commerce secretary that shadows Trump on Air Force One, in the Oval Office. Wherever you see Trump, you will see Howard Lutnick. He is Trump's handler. He watches everything Trump says, and he monitors all of his commentary and all of it, okay? Lutnick claimed that Epstein was a disgusting person and, oh, I wouldn't have anything to do with him. They just happened to be next-door neighbors in Manhattan at the notorious Epstein mansion, shared a wall with Jeff, okay? And it turns out their business ties, especially Lutnick's wife and Ghislaine Maxwell, thick like thieves. All the details are in here. And after we ran this, 2 days later, I won't show you the article, but you can find it just in CBS News. CBS News is an Israeli-controlled U.S. outlet that the Israeli interests took over CBS this year. And they installed a propagandist by the name of Barry Weiss, who is really one of the most annoying people, terrible journalist who got a huge payout for her blog. It was an inside deal. They gave her $150 million for a lousy blog, which they called the Free Press. So ridiculous. But then they, part of the Larry Ellison deal, they put her in charge of CBS. She has no experience, not qualified, but she is an Israeli loyalist. And so they've got their operatives in there. CBS News ran basically this story 2 days after we did, which has quite a lot of the material that's in our article, okay? Now, in the CBS story was damage control. It was really trying really hard to make it look like, yes, there's relations between Lutnick and Epstein, but Lutnick is not directly involved in anything. But that's not true. And of course, we show the receipts here. Again, Freddie Ponton. Great job at 21st Century Wire. Look at that. So here's Howard Lutnick, just to give you a taste of what an absolute fanatic this guy is. Now, this guy, basically, so this was in Madison Square Garden right before the election, okay? And he was speaking there along with, Rudy Giuliani gave one of the most cringeworthy speeches ever. I don't want to play that, but, here's Howard Lutnick. So this give you an idea of, certain people shouldn't be in politics because they don't have the temperament or they're just total extremists and fanatics. But yet, with the Trump administration, a lot of these people have snuck into politics and they shouldn't really be in the public, on the public-facing side of things. If you saw Lutnick at Davos, it was embarrassing. It was cringeworthy. I don't know where his confidence comes from. But here he is. This was before the 2024 election. Make of it what you will, folks. Watch this.
So, the first thing, we must elect Donald J. Trump president because we must crush jihad!
What a lunatic. And you notice the people didn't really clap. It was a pause. The audience was a bit shocked. Even for a MAGA crowd, they're like, oh, this guy's a bit much. Just no self-awareness at all and a total fanatic. Obviously, Israel first, America second, which is very commonly the theme with this Trump administration. That's the, so Lutnick and Epstein. Lutnick emails after he said he disavowed Epstein. So he was lying. They all lied. They're all in there with Jeff, and they're all trying to basically cover their you-know-whats, okay? Again, great piece by Freddie Ponton there. So they really tried hard to pull the Russia card on this. And the mainstream media, look at this. I mean, there's just so many, the videos are just clownish. The Telegraph, all of the LBC in the UK, this is Welt. Evidence of a Russian spy operation, Epstein. And the Polish president, Donald Tusk, has pushed this out. There might be connections. Everyone's saying, well, Donald Tusk says there are. And Donald Tusk, nobody ever quoted Donald Tusk for anything, but because he inferred that maybe Epstein was really a Russian asset. They can't say Israel because if you serve as a politician in any Western country, you cannot publicly say Israel in Epstein or Israel in anything. You're finished. So, but Russia, no problem. So here's Andrew Marr in the middle there on LBC. This is British mainstream media at its finest. Anti-Russian fanaticism. Listen, folks, this could be a comedy sketch. This could be a comedy sketch, but it's real. We'll get this up.
Begin tonight with something that I think is even more important, even more extraordinary. Growing suspicions of a Russian connection. Epstein had apparently limitless supplies of money. Where did it come from? He procured many young Russian girls. Why was that so easy for him? The files released show more than 1,000 documents which referred to Vladimir Putin, and 9,000 referring to Moscow. The FBI says that he was Putin's wealth manager. Epstein filed all of his messages. He filmed and taped powerful Western leaders in deeply compromising situations. Why? Doesn't it make you wonder at least about the possibility of a KGB operation big enough to ensnare former presidents and prime ministers and the leaders of some of the world's most powerful companies? I know, this all sounds impossibly sensational, conspiratorial.
I know, conspiratorial.
A James Bond villain plot in real life. But there is so much smoke billowing out of one of the most extraordinary establishment crises in my lifetime that it...
So much smoke, there must certainly be fire somewhere there. So much smoke. So much smoke.
It is well worth exploring whether there might be also...
It's well worth exploring. There might be something there.
A genuinely ominous backstory. Let me begin tonight with something that I...
This is what passes for mainstream media these days. This is Andrew Marr. I mean, it is funny. So he told a number of lies there. The FBI did not say that Epstein is Putin's wealth manager. I mean, broadcasting authority, it's funny, they took down RT because they claimed it was Russian disinformation, but the press regulators in Europe and the UK could never find any unfactual reporting or anything on RT. That was not true. And yet this guy and people like this are allowed to make up things ad nauseum so long as it somehow connects to Russia. See, also in the emails, which Andrew Marr didn't mention, is that if Epstein was a Russian asset, why was he begging Ehud Barak or somebody else to try to get him a Russian visa, because he got denied a Russian visa? Epstein, a billionaire, couldn't get a visa. The Russians didn't want him. And Barak, Ehud Barak, former intelligence head in Israel, he is on record saying that he mentored Epstein, or Epstein's on record saying, no, I think it's Barak, I trained Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not the head of Russian intelligence. It's not the former Russian president mentoring Jeff. It's Israel, Andrew, and the rest of them. It's just so stupid. But this is what passes for mainstream media these days here.
And so this is like, look at that report. There's one picture of Epstein and Ghislaine. I don't know where they are. They who knows? They could be at Euro Disney for all we know, wearing Russian hats. And of course, that's the image they go with in the British press. Epstein's links to Putin and Kremlin spies raise fears he was a Russian agent. Raise fears. Of course, no proof. This is the state of mainstream journalism, folks. If you got a narrative, and then you can piece together evidence to somehow prove your narrative. And this is a good pickup by Matt Kennard, excellent British journalist, of course. And this is what he points out. Keir Starmer is the current Prime Minister of Britain, joined the CIA-linked Trilateral Commission while serving as Jeremy Corbyn's shadow Brexit secretary. He did not inform Corbyn he joined the Trilateral Commission. It's an invitation-only club, by the way, founded by David Rockefeller with Henry Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski, etc., launched out of Davos in the early 70s. Starmer served alongside two ex-heads of CIA. Ex-CIA director said in 2019, "We do our level best to stop Corbyn." Epstein was also a member of the Trilateral Commission. Epstein was also best friends with Peter Mandelson, who Keir Starmer, for some reason, appointed as U.S. ambassador to, or British ambassador to the U.S. after having been disgraced out of government like twice. We'll talk about that in the Overdrive with Basil Valentine. But Trilateral Commission. So Jeffrey Epstein was invited by David Rockefeller at the age of 32 to join the Trilateral Commission. What the hell was Jeffrey Epstein doing in the Trilateral Commission? That is the elite of elite clubs. That gives you access to business opportunities that, you know, puts you in the room with David Rockefeller and the richest people in the world. So this is, again, another one. I mean, there's just so much. The Epstein's network is mind-blowing. So this is going to set the conspiratorium alight right here, folks. Statement announcing, Daily Mail ran this as first, now everyone's on it. Statement announcing Jeffrey Epstein's death emerges from the Epstein Files. But it's dated a day before he killed himself in the cell. So honestly, you can't make it up. So this is, Bill Barr was, I think, Attorney General at this time. So what we're saying is someone's going to need to do a wellness check on Bill Barr, this story that's just come out. Look at this. Look a little bit closer. Let's look at the document. Well, there it is. Look at that. Folks, this is just too much. U.S. Attorney General's office here. Basically, this is dated August 9th. The death of Jeffrey Epstein, August 9th, 2019. This was during Trump's presidency, okay? But the problem is Epstein died on the 10th. I mean, talk about red meat to the conspiracy lion. I mean, folks, you listen. Use your common sense, folks. Look at this. So, what was this doing there? Was it a draft? What was it doing in there? It can mean only two things. To me, it's one of two things. Either they made a mistake. There was a plan by the U.S. government. The U.S. government knew he was going to get snuffed in his prison cell. Okay? That's option one. But that doesn't really make sense because you wouldn't want to leave a paper trail. But if the federal government were orchestrating some kind or allowing maybe Israeli operatives to come and exfiltrate him. In other words, fake his death. Then this makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. That's why you would find a document like this in this tranche. So right there, folks, that is, I mean, the thing, if it's true that Jeffrey Epstein was taken away in a type of witness protection program or handed over to Israel and he's in Tel Aviv or whatever, he's hiding in Thailand or whatever. The fact that if it's known that he's alive or it's acknowledged that he is alive in a broader sense, like because of this, then there's a chance that he might not be alive much longer, if indeed he is, or who knows. But he is, yeah, too many people know about this now. So make of that what you will. Do you remember this? And we'll go to break in a minute, but I just have to point this out. Do you guys remember this? This was that stupid binder that the Trump administration gave out last year, February 1st, 2026, the Epstein Files. And they invited all of these so-called influencers to the White House. I mean, look at these people. Look at these guys. That's DC Drano. That's the redheaded guy with the beard. And they all dressed up nice, got a waistcoat, nice shoes. Libs of TikTok, who's an Israeli plant, basically, on X. Very favorite of Elon as well. Mike Cernovich, Liz Wheeler, Scott Pressler with the cowboy boots. And I forgot who the last one is. See, Jack Posobiec as well. He's part of there in the background. He's clutching his red hat. They've all got their souvenir red hats. When the initial document dump dropped, none of these people were on it. They were given privileged like status to come in the White House. They were sort of the photo ops, big up. It was all a show. It meant nothing. This was just a distraction. That was a year ago. None of these people are leading this story now or have done any work. I mean, I've seen a few tweets from maybe Jack Posobiec, but belated, a bit late, a bit slow. So for people that were supposedly hot, all these so-called journalists hot on the Epstein Files, massively underwhelming. Massively underwhelming. They've done pretty collectively nothing. Nothing. They were just part of a Trump administration PR exercise that helped to deflect away from Israel at the end of the day. That's why you have all basically pro-Israeli bloggers. I think that was the qualification. You had to support Israel to be invited into the White House for that photo op, which we look back now and it's a complete joke. It's a total joke. I mean, these people, this is going to go down in history as one of the biggest political clown shows ever. It's hard to take any of these people seriously after this. It's so ridiculous. Meanwhile, the real stuff's happening, and yeah, you know, we're not bankrolled by billionaires like some people in that photo, but we have a good, solid, independent media organization and operation, and we've done some pretty damn good reporting and research already on this. And yeah, so we made our impact. We made our impact on this this story so far, unlike all those people who really done nothing. But that's how it goes sometimes. Look, let's take a break, and we're going to go into overdrive. Thank you for joining us at the beginning of this segment. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the end. We had some audio issues. We fixed it very quickly. It wasn't that hard, but yeah, that's how it goes. Show business, live show business. It's just how it goes. So anyway, we're going to be back in a few minutes. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. This is episode 581 of the Sunday Wire. I see the comments are filing in. We're going to feature some of those in just a minute. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll see you in a few. We'll be back with a couple of our teammates, Hesher, Ruckus, also Basil Valentine's going to be joining us as well. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be quite a spirited discussion. But meanwhile, we are all sitting on the edge of our seats, hoping that, at least for now, cooler heads might prevail in the Middle East, as the U.S. and Israel are desperate to start a war. We hope that doesn't happen. We hope that doesn't happen. We hope some other world leaders step up and realize how dangerous the situation really is. But until then, we'll see you in a few.
We don't need war, we need peace. We need to find a release from the ties that bind our minds, from the constraints that rule our lives. Politics has failed again. Power's in the hands of dangerous men, with their fury and their rage, and minds bent with fear, greed and hate. They're dropping bombs again. They don't know that all lives are heaven sent. It's time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine. Now is the time. Now is the time. Now's the time for change. Tell me, do you feel the same? For here we stand in the name of love, all peoples of the world as one. The revelation needed on the street is that we're more powerful than we believe. What they don't want us to know is that the light of love we shine they can't control. The other day I spoke to God. She said to me, share this message in a song. It's time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine. Now is the time. Now is the time. Don't need war, we need peace. We need to come together in unity. We can change the world tonight when we let love be our guiding light. It's time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times now. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine. Now is the time. It's time to heal dividing lines for the sake of humankind. Now is the time. It's time for us to realize that we're all one in God's mind. Now is the time. Now is the time. We don't need war, we need peace. We don't need war, we need peace. We don't need war, we need peace.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We are streaming out live on YouTube, Rumble, X, BitChute, Facebook Live, also at 21stcenturywire.com, alternatecurrentradio.com as well. Hello to everybody in the chat room as well as in the comment streams. We'll be featuring some of those comments in just a few moments. We're going to also be joined by our teammates in a minute. We're going to be dialing in from the USA. Also, pleased to say Basil Valentine probably going to be with us as well in the Overdrive segment. And I just want to remind people what we featured just previously in the other segment. Winter fundraising drive, fantastic result. We have made it. We achieved our goal. Amazing. This is unbelievable news. And I think by the end of the show, we'll even go over that. But big shout out to everybody that helped make that happen from the beginning. Some of you guys got involved early on this, and it's going to be great. It just gives us that ability to know that we can plan ahead for this next year. And we already have assembled. I think the team that we have right now is doing amazing work. You've seen our video content we're putting out. A number of new channels we're managing, as well as, of course, the investigative journalism that we're putting out at 21stcenturywire.com. And that's all because of you guys. And there's a lot more that we're going to do on this, and we'll be sharing some of those plans and showing you some of the product as well. We'll be sharing with you in the coming weeks, as well as on-location reporting, which will be happening sooner than later. But maybe we'll hopefully see some of that very soon. Very soon, we'll see. We'll see if we play our cards right and everything. The stars align, and we hope so. We really hope so. So I don't want to say much more than that at the moment. But again, just go to 21stcenturywire.com if you want to get involved. If you haven't yet, and you like what we're doing content-wise, the Sunday Wire, the Midweek Wire, which will restart soon as well. But daily at 21st Century Wire, you see the sort of work we're doing. Hit the donate, the gold button, upper left-hand corner, and you take you to this page here and various options for getting involved in the winter fundraising drive. Again, the dial's been updated. You'll see the updated dial across our website after the show. But this is, that's where it's at, folks. A lot of different ways you can support us. Ideally, subscribe and become a member at 21wire.tv. And you can very inexpensively support us every month. It means a whole lot to us, and many of you have done that. So it's just been amazing. It really has been amazing. Thank you. We did it, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna barrel through. We're gonna do another Power Week on this, and we'll be contacting a lot of you guys as well. So yeah, thanks very much. It's been amazing. So this is already earmarked for stuff that's already in the pipeline, as well as the investigations we have ongoing. So it's just going to make it that much better for us. So thank you to everybody. Now let's bring in our teammates from ACR. They're going to be joining us right now. That's Hesher, Bryan McClain, host of the Boiler Room, and Adam Clark, aka Ruckus, joining us on the ACR side. Gentlemen, Thank you for joining us to the Sunday Wire this week. And yep, it's been an interesting week to say the least. Kind of overwhelming, the amount of stuff. I mean, it's hard to know where to focus. We're lucky where we are because we have a couple of very talented people we're working with, and they're able to focus on stuff. But we bounce ideas around, of course, and then spin that up into investigations really quick. And we've done that. Freddie Ponton's been an absolute legend on this. So, I mean, the Lutnick story, to see that on CBS News 2 days later was kind of like a little bit weird, to be quite frank. And it was Total Damage Control, the CBS version of the story. But we have all the receipts. So, I mean, shameless.
The damage control stories from the mass media cartel are hilarious. I'm having a great time watching, Melinda French Gates pretend to be shocked at this news. And then, the clip you played, it's so funny. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden the Clintons are willing to speak under oath. Like everybody's clamoring to give their little softball pitch. Oh, he's just around everywhere. I didn't like this guy that much. Okay, well, I don't send emails like that, but if I did, they would probably be with, people that I was pretty dang familiar with. And
Oh, yeah.
the amount of time some of those names are mentioned in there are staggering. And the thing that I really love, one of my favorite things about it, is we now have like a pure litmus test. It's like so easy to look at people's responses to this, and if they're downplaying it or trying to push it to Russia or big up MAGA over it, somehow it's like, okay, you're insane, or you're not someone that I want to be speaking with or working with. Like if you're this might be bigger than 9/11. This might be bigger than COVID 1984. Like what we have in front of us right now is just like the ultimate vindication for all tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists who have lost, friends, family, and coworkers and respect over the years. It's all worse than they told you it was.
So funny that you guys know Jason Leosatos, right? He's the Guardian, or George Monbiot did a hit piece on him in the Guardian a couple of years ago, and one of the things that he accused Jason of was Jason's belief that somehow the Netanyahu government was, marionette, pulling the strings of the U.S. And that was seen as a really dangerous conspiracy theory 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, come on. Unbelievable. Yep. Like, so, yeah, I mean, we all know these things for ages, but now it's official. So Ruckus, I want to get your reaction on this, is I'm saying this has a huge implication for how other countries are viewing the U.S. You saw what Putin is basically calling it a vampire's ball. There's presidents, heads of state openly saying the U.S. is run by and protects pedos, and that they're, blackmailed, and they've all got compromat and all these U.S. officials. It's kind of true. I don't think you can argue that isn't the case at this point.
Well, that's the point, yeah. Isn't it? That's the big elephant. It's like we've awakened into a new reality. It's like this is the new normal. This is the new normal. We now live in post-Epstein file release world. So we have to deal with that. Now we can say things like there are two types of people in this world. There are those who need the Epstein files released to understand that a truly satanic multinational cabal of pedophiles has infiltrated basically every major institution in the West, at least. And they are above the law and beyond reproach. And then there are those who don't need any of that to understand what I just said. Count me in the latter rather than the former.
So what are your guys' theories on why this dump happened? Now, there's a lot of stuff that's been removed from it. There was a lot of stuff redacted, but some stuff it was removed after initially being released. Thousands of, really probably too hot to handle, much of them. Plus stuff that's missing, obviously. What do you guys think? Why was this? Do you think this was done to push Trump, towards a war with Iran, because if it's really explosive and dangerous, then usually, like as Bill Clinton showed during his second term, that's when you launch a war to distract from a domestic political scandal. But this way of pushing Trump to war, or I want to say, white hats. Obviously, Thomas Massey's a white hat. And that was a bipartisan push to get this release, by the way. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey, you can see who dragged their heels on it too. But what are your guys' thoughts on that side of things?
Well, I agree with Darth X Zero. I think it's a cover-up of some sort. I like the idea that we've got black hats versus white hats, and every now and again the white hats are able to, pull a win out. But when I zoom out and I look at the larger picture here, what I see is an entire system, right? Like the whole machination of the Atlanticist bloc is hell-bent on destroying our faith in all institutions, in ourselves, in each other, in our financial institutions in future, our political institutions. No one in military intelligence, in politics, very few people in politics, maybe a couple, in international banking, in tech, want to see any sort of de-escalation. They're all participating in the team sport. Hey, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so guess what? Your red blue politics are the real big team sport here, and they're just as rigged, maybe more so, definitely more so. You don't see any of these people trying to de-escalate, which makes no sense unless the goal is exactly that, to erode trust in all institutions and pit us against one another. And I think the cover-up is multifold, but two of the biggest things in it are, number one, keep everybody concentrated on the grody sex stuff and the human trafficking stuff and the salacious stuff, right? Like keep everybody's minds on that. But what about the stuff that's been redacted? What about the stuff that's not in there? What about the serious geopolitical maneuverings that were involved? What about the highest of high-level blackmails that were involved? What about the eugenics programs? I mean, we're seeing drips and draps of all these things in there, but it's like the grody sex stuff is what I feel like we're supposed to be focusing on. So I feel like this was a timed release. It's about managing outrage. This is a trickled outrage management system. And all the while, the technocrats in the background are building the technocratic infrastructure. They're setting this all up. So, if they want to pull the rugs on all these institutions, which it feels like that's what they're prepping us for, then this is all a perfect storm to set that up, whether it's a financial rug pull or something as wacky as Project Bluebeam turns on and goes live.
Ruckus, what do you think? Why? Because it could have been buried. Trump could have just wrote it out. Why is this happening?
And the Dems could have rolled this out while they were busy making the fake Russiagate story. So it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I think I agree mostly with what Hesher said. I also tend to have this theory, this idea, this feeling, nagging suspicion that this one is the distraction. And it's not the other way around, that they're going to do something else to distract from the files. I think the files are the distraction. And again, I can't wrap my head around what it is they could be distracting us from. The next disease X, who knows? The financial rug pull, probably. The fact that we're going to lose gravity, it gets turned off in August, probably not. But I don't know, maybe aliens, that could be a thing. There's a lot of that talk going around. But ultimately, it serves too many purposes, and it ultimately doesn't change a damn thing. That's what I'm most upset about, is that it doesn't change anyone's minds or hearts about any one issue. It's people seem to be just digging their heels in further. I've not seen anyone who was on the fence saying, well, that does it for me. They've already made that decision before the release. And then the other thing is, like, nobody's going to get in trouble. We saw, I don't know the guy's name, but the one who's the head of this whole thing, Marsh, is that the guy? I can't remember his name. Maybe you can You guys know what I'm talking about. He got up there and he said, if we knew that there were men who were abusing girls, we would prosecute them. He keeps repeating it over and over again, gaslighting everybody. And I'm like, that was the point of releasing the Epstein files. It wasn't just so we could look at it and argue about it online. It was supposed to present evidence of crimes, and we were going to go after the criminals and take care of the problem. And we haven't done any of that. And I don't think that we're going to at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, they dropped a massive amount of charge. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein got a free ride after the initial, trial. I mean, they just basically let him go and weekend prison, and then just basically had all these counts and went down to almost zero. Sweetheart deal. And then you got all these bankers, Jess Staley, Glenn Dubin, all these types of, people that named in there. I think Leon Black is another big name that's in there as well, and clearly implicated, and but Bill Clinton.
It could be a flex too from the powers that be, because we're seeing a lot of that. The mask ripping off. They're like, haha, here we are. Here's what we did. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, the final cherry on top. This is a theme I've been noticing for a long time now. It's like everything is getting its sort of final treatment. Everything is getting the cherry on top of the fetid whipped cream. You know what I mean? It's like every single thing that happens has a Hulu documentary about it, like within 48 hours of it happening. And they give you the worst softball pitch you could possibly imagine. They leave out all the craziest stuff. So yeah, I agree with what Ruckus just said. This is very likely just like, this is what's been going on, guys. What are you gonna do about it? You're going to show up at the White House with pitchforks and demand that everybody that took money from AIPAC be removed and that they're not a legitimate representative? How many is that? 518? You could leave 10 people there maybe. Are we going to see that? No. Are we going to see the DOJ charging people? Not really, because when everybody is guilty on both sides, there's no political drive to bring anybody to indictment.
That's the genius of it, isn't it? Let's bring in Basil Valentine here, joining us. Basil, if you want to move up a little higher.
Yeah, I can't just at the moment, not without disappearing. I'm as tired as I can be for the second.
Okay. What do you think? Why were these files dumped now, Basil? Because they could have kept all this buried, and it's hugely incriminated. But you've heard what Ruckus and Hesher have said. Just some different ways of looking at it. What are your feelings on this?
Well, the why is arguably the most difficult question of all. There's rumors that they were dumped in order to punish Donald Trump for not attacking Iran yet. Is that where we're at in terms of global politics? How bizarre, as you said before I came on, the whole sort of white hat idea, which isn't one I'm very keen to embrace, must have something to do with it. The relationship between Congress, obviously Massey and Ro Khanna in particular, and other aspects of the United States government has always been complex. Perhaps the checks and balances are working, and there are people in the Department of Justice who genuinely believe in justice to some degree. Of course, Todd Blanche said at the release that millions of files are being withheld, and they include those that include child abuse, torture, and even death. And by that, I assume they mean murder. So we're not seeing the worst of it at all. We've got to sort of read between the lines to decipher the hidden meaning by all the sort of Pizzagate terms. That's all come back to life, hasn't it? It looks increasingly real. Pizza being a euphemism for small children. And there are lots of other code words hidden throughout the documents. It's extraordinary, really, that the President of the United States, who described Epstein as a great guy following their association in the New York real estate business in the late 80s and 90s, and who, according to the files, auctioned off young girls in the calendar auctions for Epstein, that isn't the end of his presidency. I mean, if you went back 40 or 50 years, if Ronald Reagan or Jimmy Carter had done something like that, they'd be out by now and in disgrace. I mean, how is Trump's association with Epstein somehow a much cleaner problem than Watergate, So, the fact that Trump doesn't appear to be under any pressure at all as a result of this release, just simply saying, let's move on, forget about it, so on and so forth, as quickly as possible. That indicates a real deep rot at the heart of the American political system, if you weren't already aware of the fact that there was one, So there's still an enormous amount to be unpacked, as Hesher mentioned: baby farms, gene editing, possible human sacrifice. David Icke was talking about these things 26 years ago, and everybody laughed at him. Well, they're not laughing now.
It was a bit like Jeff had this kind of, Gregory Peck, The Boys from Brazil. Remember that film? I think it was Mangala.
That's right.
That's
right. The Hitler clones. Apparently, he had
yeah.
dreams of doing the same thing. And talking to Bill Gates about wanting to get rid of all poor people, things like this, is some, really bizarro stuff. Now, I know you don't believe in it, and this is a bit of a tangent, Patrick. So by all means, shut me down and we'll return to the main narrative. But
shut it down.
But there've been the images of Epstein in Tel Aviv doing the rounds on the internet.
Yeah, that's AI
not just
generated.
one, but two or three. Now people say it's AI. I've seen another video with a guy saying he ran it through the AI detector and it came back 96% definitely real.
It had a Gemini. It had a Gemini logo on it.
So we're told. I didn't see that there was more than one photo, including him walking in the street. But crucially, and the other piece of evidence that Loki, the British rapper and anti-imperialist campaigner, identified is that amongst the documents released, one of them by chance happened to show a full list of all Epstein's email addresses. I think J. Epstein Vacation was the one he principally used, for taking people to Pedo Island. But there was another email address he used, which was linked to an account on X, and that account on X has been active over the last couple of years, up until the last few days when it was taken private. So unless somebody hacked that account, and that account was used for gaming, and apparently Epstein was a keen gamer, and if you were in exile somewhere, what would you be doing? You'd be gaming all the time if you had hours and hours to burn in front of a computer and weren't be allowed to communicate with anybody. So the gaming thing and that linking of that account to an email address that was definitely one of his, that's a very interesting clue. Plus, of course, let's go back to the photos of the cadaver that was mysteriously wheeled out of the detention facility in New York, and the discrepancies between the shape of the cadaver's nose and ear position with that of Jeff Epstein. A lot of us at the time didn't think, the security cameras magically turned off, all that sort of thing, that the cadaver was indeed that of Epstein. In fact, if you want to go even further down the rabbit hole, some people are suggesting that the cadaver was in fact that of the former chef and food correspondent Anthony Bourdain. But we'll leave that one for the conspiracy theorists. But I think that the Epstein is alive thesis has perhaps more credence to it than one might be first inclined to give it.
Right. So the gaming, Little Saint James, I think that was a YouTube account. So that would have been linked to a Gmail account that came up in there. And so he was playing Fortnite, an avid player of a game called Fortnite. And so that account kept playing in the last couple of years. So it was the same account because there was proof of the username, which was confirmed in the email in a correspondence with Google or YouTube, and then that was the account name used for Fortnite, for the Fortnite account. So I mean, I don't know if you can go so far.
Popular with young females in that age range that he was fond of. So
is that right?
Oh yeah. That's sort of like a young person's entry game into first-person shooters. It's like cell shaded and very appearingly kid friendly if you're a parent.
if one of you guys, I don't know if you're able to look at suppressed news on X, he did a tweet on this. I don't know if we can share it on screen. I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, but it was suppressed news. It had the Epstein fortnight, but it's probably on X. But if you guys find it, go ahead and throw that up on screen so people can see. But there's been other accusations, and we are weary that somebody could change their username and then spoof Epstein now that this talking points out. But the Fortnite thing that came quite early on seems to be matching up with the files, so that's legit. Now I'm saying there's a bunch of data points that might suggest, including the DOJ's own letter dated the day before he died, that he actually died. I mean, that's if anything, that's one. But there's a lot of data points suggest that he didn't die in that cell, and there's speculation. I haven't done an ear match on the cadaver, who was in the gurney, and Jeff, but then that doesn't necessarily prove that the AI, if there was an AI generated image of him in Tel Aviv with a beard, often the AI can be used to discredit the whole line of conjecture. So if you can
by just slapping a watermark on it, now everyone says, "Oh, look, that was AI." See?
No, but you can create an AI to basically shut down that line of questioning, because you put out, in other words, the story could be true, but there's no photographic evidence of him. But you put out a fake AI generated photo, and then it gives the mainstream press and everybody a chance to say, "No, that's just fake. It's a fake."
Yes. It's the double bluff. Exactly.
That's how you do it. That's how you manage the information. That's why I'm very cautious and skeptical to run with something that I can't validate, because I know that could actually kill the actual inquiry into it. So that's just a little tip for people. That's how we operate at 21st Century Wire.
Well, what do you think about that other thing that he mentioned there, Patrick? Basil was talking about the prison guard. I think it's come out now.
The 4chan.
Okay, yeah, because I remember that. That to me, this one's actually could be a real life smoking gun, not the actual post, but the fact that the FBI acted on the post, because otherwise it's just an anonymous person making a strange claim anonymously on 4chan. They pressured with a warrant 4chan and Apple to give up the information to hunt this person down. And I'm like, why would they do that? And the person in question is the one who made like this anonymous post saying, I'm going to say that I saw something. I work at the prison. They wheeled him out. He says, I'm shaking right now. I think he's still alive. And that's where that everybody started thinking, oh, the body switch. That's where that came from. And it was just an anonymous post. Why would the FBI bother hunting down this guy? And then now everybody found out the person's name is allegedly Roberto Grijalva, because the stupid redactors forgot to redact his name on one of the bank statements. So like the guy's been doxxed now, and he's still working in the prison system somewhere. And I'm like, can we get that guy a welfare check at least?
Yeah, Bill Barr needs a welfare check after that DOJ letter. Let me bring that DOJ letter back, because I don't know. Have you seen this yet, Basil? This Epstein the day before. I'll bring it up in a moment. But Hesher, did you see this DOJ story that broke about the dated on the 9th of August?
Yeah.
Epstein died on the 10th.
Yeah, but made me think of Building 7 when the BBC said that Building 7 had come down, and it was standing there in the background.
It's kind of a BBC Building 7 moment here, guys. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. So, I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, I think this is evidence, not that he was killed and they planned to kill him, but that he was basically exfiltrated out of there in some kind of a witness protection agreement, possibly with the state of Israel, possibly not. Who knows? I mean, this is high stakes game, folks. Jeff's got probably a lot of stuff buried and tapes hidden and
dead man switch. Why, if you were this guy, right? Let's think high level blackmailer 101, right? And you're trained by Robert Maxwell, your right hand person's father, right? and you're working, double, triple intel, right? One of the first, I would imagine, one of the first lessons you're going to get is how to protect yourself in a worst case scenario. And in that business, the worst case scenario is right. So it's called a dead man's switch. If you were paying attention to John McAfee, he talked a lot about that in his, the lead up to his final days. And there's been a lot of discussion about what he actually had. Does it work? Is it still enabled? Does Janice have it? Those kind of questions.
What about that? Well, hold on. What about that Miami tower block that got destroyed where McAfee's apartment was, that the Israeli authorities came over to clean up?
Mm-hmm.
And they got some kind of accommodation like from the state of Florida. That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Was that part of that dead man switch scenario?
You got to wonder. I mean, these are guys with endless money, endless connections, and very different perspectives, and publicly seem to have met very similar demises. Is one of them really dead and one of them really alive? I think I know who I'd pick if that's the situation. Are they both dead? Maybe. Are they both alive? Highly doubt it. Don't think so. I wish John was.
If I had to bet, I would say Epstein's alive.
I think so. Why would he not be in some sort of witness protection program if he has been the nexus of the information that literally can blackmail the universe and control the direction of society, of culture, of technology, of the planet, of finance? Why would that not be the case? Why would they just delete him? I mean, okay, maybe they have their reasons. Hopefully we'll know the answer someday, but honestly, fellas, I don't think we will. This is going to go down as the biggest release ever. This is the biggest thing ever, and it's also going to go unlitigated, just like everything else. That's
very quickly for those that don't know it. I just want to jump in with the story of the fate of his long-term on-off girlfriend. Apparently she Ghislaine, that is, wanted a more committed relationship with Jeffrey than he was willing to give her. People say he inherited her father's network, Captain Bob, as he was known, who made the mistake of telling the Mossad that he was going to pull the dead man's switch in advance of doing so. He was something like 500 million pounds in the hole, having stolen hundreds of millions of pounds from the Mirror newspaper group pension funds, the pensions of his employees. But his businesses were not doing well, and he plundered those accounts for his own personal benefit. This was all about to become public knowledge. So Robert Maxwell decided he would blackmail the Mossad into giving him hundreds of millions of pounds, or he would release information about everything he'd been doing for them over the previous 30 years or whatever. They played for time and decided in the end that it was much cheaper to simply get rid of him. So a crack team boarded his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, which was moored in the Canary Islands. Apparently he was injected with a fast-acting lethal poison in the neck with a hypodermic that shows no trace. Body dumped overboard. Real James Bond type operation, or should I say Spectre type operation. And that was the end of him. Mossad saved themselves a few £100 million, and he never got to reveal his secrets.
Yeah, he tried to blackmail Mossad. Maybe that's what.
That's a mad plan, if ever there was one,
And they gave him a state funeral as well.
I know.
Because they respect the chutzpah.
That's right.
They respect the chutzpah.
And everything he'd done up to that point as well.
Right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he didn't have a park named after him like James Jesus Angleton, but hey, I think he's got a street named after him. Bill Barr, CIA attorney for George H.W. Bush, CIA Bill Clinton, Colonel Oliver North, Barry Seal. He's got it all in one running, all caps here. I'm not sure. This is some kind of a cryptic comment. He said Barry Seal, yeah, men of Arkansas, yeah, we know all that. Bill Barr was like Attorney General as a very young man for a brief period of time during the George H.W. Bush CIA administration. And then Barr's brought back, and Barr's dad is Epstein's first employer at this elite kids school that Epstein was probably having relationships with the students of young students of whose parents were the heads of major investment banks, like the ones where Jeff was parachuted into Bear Stearns with no degree in anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
this is like a connect the dots limerick right here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Zorro Ranch. Drove by there a few years ago. I remember that. So, yeah.
I mean, what we need now really is a whistleblower to release the other 3 million. I mean, WikiLeaks might have done it, but I think Julian Assange prefers a quiet family life in Australia now and doesn't want to be extradited again. He's had enough of all that, from what I can tell. But perhaps somebody else, I mean, the word on the street, so to speak, about the missing evidence is that it contains material unbelievably sickening, showing stuff and talking about stuff that it's hard to fathom human beings being capable of doing to each other. That's the thing as well. The sort of, it's one thing, okay, the girl that Prince Andrew was involved with, might have been more than one, whatever, she was 17, technically, etc., blah, blah, blah. But we're talking in the redacted stuff about this, in the stuff not released, about the most obscene acts of torture and murder committed on very young children. And as Hesher said, what this does already without that material being in the public domain is demonstrate, and I think there is a growing awareness of this, although I do take your point, Hesher, about nobody's mind necessarily having been changed. But I think there is a growing awareness of the stench, the sheer rotten, I mean, the word corruption doesn't even begin to cover it, but the moral inversion of the oligarchy, of the sort of plutocratic elite that seems to have coalesced around figures like Epstein over the last 30 or 40 years. Perhaps it was always there, but it seems to be the case now more than ever as we enter this new technocratic age, that this panopticon of control that's being built is being operated by the very worst in society, who may or may not have the goods on so-called elected leaders. Where they don't, nevertheless, it seems they can get those leaders to knuckle under the most extreme genocidal form of Zionism across the board, with barely a word of dissent. And that these people have absolutely no moral compass, that they believe in power for its own sake, that they're not really in politics to do the best for everybody, that they're completely devoid of any governing philosophy or ideology, other than, of course, the absence, the very unstated but nevertheless core value, which is that they don't believe in caring for their fellow human beings. Remember, there's that cremation of care ritual at Bohemian Grove, that actually the more callous you are, well, that's the price of admission to the top table. People speculate that you have to actually be a killer to become president of the United States. People speculate that Keir Starmer got the job as Prime Minister of Britain, sitting at the front of a driverless train, as he's been described, because he didn't prosecute Jimmy Savile, things like that. So it's an absolute moral cesspit, the so-called governing class, and a really wholesale change is needed. And I think people are slowly waking up to that fact.
So it's only a stone's throw away from something that is a dream of the technocrats, which is to tell the people, hey, you know what? We're just people. We're fallible. We do creepy sex stuff. We do corruption. And gosh darn it, an AI would not have these motivations. And your new prime minister is going to be an artificial intelligence in the near future. you know, again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the intentional destruction of faith in institutions. Like, we're at the end of that. There is no faith in institutions anymore. Very little, you know. I mean, you're lucky if you have a social program that you engage in and you feel enriched by and you see it working or something like that. But if you're just, you know, online and engaging in the politics and the outrage prawn, you know what I mean? We're just stuck. We're not going to get anywhere with it. And yeah, we may hit a point where it just gets so absurd that someone says, and it may not even be a human that says it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We're in charge now. The robots are in charge now. You're not going to need your human eyeballs anymore. We're going to have robots come and pluck them from your faces, and you won't be, you know, engaging in voting anymore because that's corrupted too. You know what I mean? This is just like the situation that is the setup to take us to global governance that is, you know, doled out through AI.
So Epstein, of course, was described as an enthusiastic member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and it was founded by David Rockefeller to reduce democracy. Remember, he said there was too much democracy. The Trilateral Commission, sorry, CFR, something else.
And what's on the top of the list? What's on the top of the list at Davos, at CFR, at Trilateral, at WWIII every year for the last decade? AI. Why is AI at the top of the discussion list there, but they have Chatham House rules on what's actually said there? Why are these people that control all these things, we're talking the top of the top, right? Tech CEOs, politicians, military intelligence, and international bankers. Like, these are the people that are meeting and talking about why AI is so important. Why is it so important to them? It's not so that I can sit here and make lolcat videos and make pugs dancing to yay songs.
So how it would go is that companies and right now this is what's happening. Elon's got the Grok got the contract with the Pentagon. Palantir's got the contract with the CIA. Palantir's got the NHS contract as well. And so it's a competition between the companies that have the best AI. So they're marketing the AI. You know, you might vote for it in a certain way in the future, and it'd be like more of a marketing exercise for these corporations, a branding exercise.
There's a military grok now, Pat. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah. Humans are fallible.
Yep.
Yeah. Humans are fallible, so we need AI. It's actually the other way around. AI makes massive mistakes, and when they do, the humans who are supposed to, you know, be the final, you know, check on the end of that process will always defer to the AI, and this is what's happened in Israel. This is why I think this genocide has gone mental, because U.S. and Israelis are in the control room saying, well, the AI is telling us there's a threat there. So, you know, we can't risk letting that threat stand. So let's just neutralize the target. And they keep doing that over and over. I posted an Al Jazeera report on this on my X feed, which is, I'll try to grab it. But the Genius Act, did you guys see that? So one of our commenters, I accidentally took the comment off, but one of our commenters said that Epstein, the Genius Act, Jamie Dimon, I can't remember the gist of it, but somehow Epstein was involved in pushing that Genius Act. And so anyway, we'll go, but I'll try to find that comment again. But this is interesting here. I think Robert Maxwell lost a huge amount of money when the Lockerbie plane blew up. This was they blamed it on Gaddafi. He and Epstein were in the process of trying to take over Pan Am Airways at the time, which went belly up because of the Lockerbie bombing. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it's interesting. That's the kind of stuff that's going on in the background, and maybe someone tried to interrupt that takeover. And yeah, there's all sorts of stuff coming in here. Bear Stearns fired Jeff because someone noticed the teen predation, and they didn't want any investigators to find out what he's doing with the financial filings, tax evasions, etc. Did you guys see the Rothschild story on Epstein?
No, what was it?
So the Rothschild Bank got caught laundering hundreds of millions out of the stolen. They all raided the Venezuelan, the Malaysian sovereign wealth fund, and we got a picture. The story. I'll bring up the 21 Wire story. Freddie did a nice report on this. Yeah, here it is. We'll put this up on screen. So they raided it, and then the DOJ had to investigate because they do all the for the Swiss banking sector. The U.S., the FBI, and the DOJ basically do all the governance now because they stopped the anonymous banking in Switzerland, right? So when they were doing it, it all tracked back to basically this Rothschild's bank here. And she is a widow of the late, I forgot, it was Nat Rothschild. I can't remember which Rothschild she's married to. But Epstein got involved there because the fine would have been like, I don't know, 75 million. And she said, Jeff, if you can get that fine down below 75, we'll give you 25 million. If the fine's 150 million, you'll get a 10 million commission. And lo and behold, Jeff gets the fine down like to 60 or 50. So he had some grease inside the U.S. government to make sure that fine dropped. And so they cut him in on a commission, all done off the books under, quote, consultancy services. That's what it looks like happened. Great job by Freddie to kind of figure that one out. And this was in the Financial Times. But the Financial Times, after we published ours, the Financial Times ran similar story around the same time they were published. But they didn't go nearly to the incriminating level that we did. You know, so it's like, oh, she got caught up with the Epsteins. What a shame, you know, terrible fortune.
Like you trip and fell in it or something. Oh, oops.
Fell into Jeff Epstein's life.
I'm in the Friends of Jeffrey network. Oops, I just tripped. I stumbled. I was trying to get my $20 tuna sandwich and I tripped and fell in the Epstein network.
Ruckus, we haven't heard from you on this. I mean, based on what we've just been discussing there, I'll look for this Genius Act comment if I can.
I don't see how Epstein could be associated with the Genius Act. That's a fairly new thing. Trump signed that into law in July of last year. But the connection to the Epstein is that's when also he released everyone was trying to. They had Ro Khanna put it he attached it to the Genius Act. So Trump inadvertently allowed the Epsteins to be released, and what they were saying at the time, all the left-leaning, any media that was actually pushing back against Trump at the time said the only reason Trump went through the trouble of signing the Genius Act and to make the crypto bros happy was to distract from the Epstein Files. So I don't see any connection between Epstein and the Genius Act. I mean, other than maybe he's got some plans for stable coins, and we've seen all the he invented microtransactions. Oh, he created Bitcoin, all this weird stuff. I don't see the association.
On the Bitcoin thing, Jeff Epstein came in because the Bitcoin Foundation ran out of money. He paid for all the coding and developers for like a period of years after that with his support. So Bitcoin might have stalled. If not, and one of the original Bitcoin Foundation people basically did a long tweet on X explaining that, you know, we have to thank, although it's unsavory, we have to thank Jeff Epstein because the Bitcoin project might have hit the wall if not for Epstein.
Has Bitcoin fallen? Has the price of Bitcoin fallen as a result of it?
Are you kidding? It's like it's gone to the floor and
it's in free fall.
Fallen. Yeah, everything's crashing. Yeah.
Wow.
The Bitcoin bros hate the fact that as soon as Epstein's name was associated with that thing, it started tanking, and it's been like, It's not getting any better. But the thing is, like, there's this guy, I can't remember who it was, but he was famously known for screaming. He's like, literally, as soon as people understand and know who created Bitcoin, it's going to zero.
Yeah, that was the CEO of I can't remember the company, but yeah, he made that was back in like 2015 when he said that, 2018, somewhere in that string of years.
Actually, Bitcoin it dipped below 70 in the last 2 days, and it's rebounded. It's at 71 now, 71,000. So is that the new floor, 70? Because all that money from metals is going to it's going to have to find somewhere to go, and it might end up going in Bitcoin for another run. So that's a possibility. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of fake Bitcoin out there with ETFs and the BlackRocks of the world. I mean, they've created
Probably going into robots and technocracy now, Patrick.
So, and Elon also had that dream to clone himself. I mean, he's harboring that.
We talked in 2018 on Boiler Room about Epstein and his desires to impregnate 1,000 women at Zorro Ranch, and people just looked at us like we had two heads when they saw that. They're like, "You guys are insane." Well, guess what? Taste the vindication. That's what we called Boiler Room the other night. Because yeah, it's in the files. It is a real thing, and these people do behave this way. They think there's some sort of proto man, or some sort of angel of death style, like you were saying earlier. This is a type of madness that only people with endless disposable money and endless powerful connections even sit around and comprehend.
123 1918. There is no perfect crime. Sooner or later, it will come out. That's probably correct. But will they vaporize the planet before that happens?
Yeah. What will the context of reality be when that happens? And will that be the part where they're like, yeah, actually, you guys were right. So you have a new AI prime minister now.
Can I ask you guys honest question? Is there anybody creepier than Alex Karp right now? I mean, Peter Thiel. Besides Peter Thiel. Palantir wanted to beta test.
I don't think so. I mean, that guy is grade A, level 5, creepazoid, freakazoid, wasteoid. I don't know how many sniff hits of ketamine this guy does every 5 minutes, but he needs to calm down on the ketamine, and he needs to get his nose out of that book he's got his nose in.
I mean,
I think in the UK, we've got to keep the pressure up. Zach Polanski's been saying lots of questions need to be asked about government awarding contracts to Palantir. You've seen the diagrams, Patrick. They're embedded everywhere from the Ministry of Defense to the National Health Service. And we want them out. We want them completely out of anything to do with UK government and data collection. And there's a real campaign to be launched there. And hopefully through the association with Epstein, the Palantir brand can become as toxic as Peter Mandelson himself now is. He's been sacrificed, and just this morning, Morgan McSweeney, the head of the Cabinet Office, the Chief of Staff, he was forced to resign as well because he's the one that recommended Mandelson, and Mandelson stayed in Epstein's house in New York while he was in jail. So no defense there. But certainly on this side of the pond, the aim is to very much demonize one or two individuals. This is often the case. You can find a scapegoat, and regardless of how high up the pecking order they are, nevertheless, they can be sacrificed by the herd and hung out to dry. And then that contains it. Theoretically, that cauterizes the scandal.
That's what they did with Weinstein, right? That's the whole reason Weinstein's sitting in jail. If you look at what Weinstein's actually in jail for, it's pretty flimsy. It's not that great. Arguably, I would take a defense lawyer position for him because it looks like a slam dunk to me. And eventually he's going to be out. Same with that guy. I forget his name. They charged a police officer, right? Who was at Uvalde, who failed to act. He was just acquitted. So here we are, 4 years later? Yeah, his life got turned upside down, but he was one of over 100 agents that were sitting there. Why only one? Why not a unit commander? Why not a decision maker? One guy, of course he's going to get acquitted. It's like we see this all the time. I mean, look at the savings and loan scandal. What'd we get? One guy for that?
Yep.
Yeah, the influence peddling is also off the charts. Peter Mandelson held shares in Global Counsel, which lobbies for Palantir. While UK ambassador in Washington, the embassy helped to arrange PM-level access to Palantir's DC office. I mean, this stuff used to be off limits for politicians. And 7 months later, £241 million contract for the DOD. So Mandelson, geez, man, so corrupt. Starmer,
Yeah, I mean, the
Mendelsohn.
standards in public life have gone absolutely through the floorboards on both sides of the Atlantic over the last 30 or 40 years, really.
Nobody cares anymore. They don't even
It's
try.
it's just a case of whatever you can get away with and don't get caught. And if you do get caught, just be absolutely brazen about it until you're literally forced out, you know.
So I'm gonna play you guys this video here so people can see it. I mean, this kind of shows you like where we're at with this, the level of this AI and how bad it is, how inaccurate it is, how much people are deferring to it to basically make all these decisions. So this was done by Digital Dilemma by Al Jazeera. Here it's talking about the privatization of AI tech in military and law enforcement. I mean, this is disturbing. Listen.
Take a look at this US-led military facility in southern Israel. It's called the Civil Military Coordination Center and was set up in October 2025 to monitor the Gaza ceasefire. Some of its tasks include managing humanitarian aid and figuring out how to rebuild Gaza. But I want you to take a look at what's on display. A map of the strip, footage of trucks, and a report by Dataminer, a private US tech company. It uses artificial intelligence to mine social media in real time to issue early warnings of critical situations. But why does this matter? Because the use of Dataminer highlights the growing relationship between private AI tech companies and militaries. It reflects a structural transformation of how warfare works, who controls it, who profits from it, and how accountability functions. I spoke to Heidi Khalaf, the chief AI scientist at the AI Now Institute, to learn more.
There's an over-reliance now on these commercial technologies because militaries are not investing in their own capabilities. So instead of building models with traceable data and parameters that can then explain their behavior, militaries are instead relying on what essentially is a black box. In Gaza is where we saw the first confirmation that commercial AI models are being directly used in warfare. The justification here has been speed. So constantly when you're talking about speed, there's a sacrifice of accuracy.
We've seen numerous reports of how Israel's genocidal war in Gaza was not driven only by soldiers. It was also driven by data prediction, location tracking, drone feeds, and AI models built by private tech firms. These firms help to shape what is then designated as a target. Another private AI company, Palantir, has become a key player in Israel's war on Gaza. Reports suggest it had been supplying the Israeli military with AI tools to help it identify and accelerate the targeting of individuals in Gaza. Although I should add that Palantir has strongly denied this. Amazon and Google have provided Israel with the massive cloud infrastructure needed for military AI systems to function, although both companies have said their services are commercial, not military. These tools have shifted the war from human intelligence to a data industry. Now, defense contracting isn't new, but previous wars, like the US invasion of Iraq in 2003, were built around informants and interrogations. While AI was used then, it involved a human in the loop and had clearer military applications. But now the line between commercial and military use of AI is becoming more blurred, and corporations also play a bigger role. This development raises a question. What does it mean when a private AI company controls the infrastructure the military depends on and not the state?
What essentially militaries are doing here is ceding their control and state obligations to a faulty technology developed by private companies with very different incentives. And ultimately, this results in AI being used to evade accountability for mass civilian casualties that may be caused due to how inaccurate these models are.
This means that war is no longer just a battlefield. It's about who builds and controls the software of mass civilian data.
Wow. Oh, so, you know, I want to go to Hesher on this because this is sort of Hesher's area of expertise. Hesher, what do you think about their conclusion at the end there? What are the implications of this based on your experience having worked in between those lines before? What are your thoughts, feelings on this?
Well, it's offensive. It's not an appropriate way to do warfare. If, you know, people in the chat pointing out this isn't a war. What we're seeing is, you know, there are much harsher words for what we're seeing than a war. That's really not the right word. But nonetheless, you know, I used to, for those that don't know, I used to work in the DoD, and I worked in a field of large-scale military experimentation. So I got to see, as a civilian, I was not in the military, I was a civilian employee at a university in Monterey. And one of the primary things that I did for many years was helping joint tactical air controllers test ways to approve munitions falling. Okay. So I'm speaking very generally here. This is all public information. And it was at that point, this was in the mid 2000s. At that point, it was very important to the US military that a human being with human eyeballs are within eye shot of a target, right? Like, think about some of the things you've seen blowing up, right? Imagine, because we know they've targeted entire apartment blocks to get one person based on some of this intelligence, with no regard to who else might be living in there or the family of that person. That's already outside the realms of appropriate warfare, rules of engagement, Geneva Convention, all that stuff. And these ghouls find their ways around it, and they do it anyways. But at least when we had human beings on the ground, they could say, and let's just assume they had a legitimate target, right? They could say, hey, radio the air platform and say, hey, you need to come from an east-west trajectory on this to minimize any collateral damage, right? If an AI were to mess up, like, this is unthinkable to the people that I used to work with in this field. If a machine, no human eyeballs were on a target, and a machine was to be trusted 100% to decide what trajectory the munitions fall in, you could wipe out an entire city block. You could wipe out an entire suburb. There are really good humanitarian reasons to have a real human's eyeballs on that target. So that, to me, is the fundamental problem with what we're seeing here. And I just want to add one more thing before you go around to everybody else. This has been, we talked about this on Boiler Room a couple of months ago, I think, but up at the Gray Zone last year, June 18th, they posted this article. It was going around. U.S. Army appoints Palantir, Meta, and OpenAI execs as lieutenant colonels. So on June 13th of last year, the United States Army announced the creation of Detachment 201, otherwise known as an Executive Innovation Corps, which it describes as a new initiative designed to fuse cutting-edge tech expertise with military innovation. So just think about that. If you have grandparents, parents, brothers, sisters, anyone that you care about in the military who has worked really hard to become an officer, a career in the military, and what they've gone through and the sacrifices your family has made to help them get there, to have that career and do that insane job. And these nerds from Silicon Valley are coming in with their AI tools that are very dangerous and will and are causing excess loss of life and suffering. And they're being given lieutenant colonel positions in the U.S. Army. Think about that for a minute. What? It's mind-boggling.
Sam Altman given lieutenant colonel stars. I mean, it's just wow. So I want to get, before we go around the horn to the other guys on this, but Hesher, the point that I thought was significant was that this gives an ability to avoid human accountability
completely
by deferring to the AI. And then the human can say, if something goes wrong, they could say, well, that transforms everything, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. It's like if you had a lot of brothers and sisters and someone steals a cookie from the cookie jar, right? Oh, well, there's plausible deniability if your brothers and sisters are going to keep their mouths shut. No one knows who took the cookie from the cookie jar. Same thing, but at a nuclear scale.
Yeah. Well,
all of humanity, right? Like all of humanity, like so someone could pull the switch on anything,
but a genocide,
all of humanity can say, I didn't do it, didn't do nothing. It was the AI. It's literally Terminator.
I mean, I wonder if you did if let's say in a perfect world, guys, this would be good for Ruckus and then Basil, but you guys, in a perfect world, and Israel threw its hands up in the air and said they did an internal inquiry. This was a genocide. it's a disaster. They do an investigation. I sort of think they're not going to get very far because they're going to run up against an AI wall at some point of, deniability or pawning it off on the computer systems, and then in the end there'll be some report saying, oh, we made a big mistake over relying on the AI systems. Certainly, whatever. We need to do better next time. I don't know, Ruckus, that's the kind of dynamic I see forming now in these conversations.
I don't think the AI can be publicly acknowledged to be failing. They're spending more time, energy in pumping that stuff up, more so than the NASA stuff and the alien mythos stuff. I mean, it's like why they are too big to fail themselves. Like they put everything into this and all the circular funding. I mean, like if that they could rug pull themselves if they're not careful here. So I think that the AI has to be presented as infallible. And what you were talking about earlier there, Hesher, was Davos was the ones talking about at the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. They were very AI heavy, but not just AI. It's what they call physical AI, which are of course robotics. So. And or tying, or maybe that's the implementation. We've been playing around with the AI, but now we actually connect it to the physical world. And that could include, running governments. There were all sorts of panels. There were a number of them talking about using AI as governance. And there was another meeting of a bunch of these elite types, the World Summit, the World Government Summit. Sam Chaney was reporting about it this week on Weaponized News. But yeah, over there, they were also same thing. They're just coming out and saying, hey, here's what letting your governments be run by AI would look like. It's like, it's not even a theory. It's not an argument. It's not, hey, should we have a moral discussion? Is this right or wrong? It's like, here's how to do it. And I'm like, oh crap, we've seen that before. So once they start implementing all of that stuff around the world in lockstep, then obviously, yeah. But I don't think they're gonna let, admit mistakes were made with the Gaza thing at all. No way. No. I don't think so.
Basil, what do you think about this? Is there going to be some kind of a reckoning with AI, or is it just going to really be a technocratic takeover of law enforcement and military?
It seems RoboCop is on the way. I don't know if you've seen those weird-looking robotic dog type things, which are being armed and maybe the new sort of automated policeman. I mean, the whole thing is nightmarish in the extreme. And, our own Home Secretary here in Britain, Shabana Mahmood, has talked about a panopticon of control. The ultimate surveillance state is being gradually built behind the scenes, or sometimes not behind the scenes. Things like the Epstein revelations represent perhaps minor setbacks because of his tangential association with some of these organizations, but the march is pretty much relentless. There's no democratic oversight. Nobody's ever voted for this. Nobody really wants it to happen. And we've got to sweep away the power structures that are enabling it. And otherwise we're in for a really, really nightmarish future. People still talk about democracy being the high watermark, the sort of sacred cow of our societies. But at the same time, it's being gradually dismantled in front of our eyes. Democracy consists of more than just an extremely imperfect plebiscite once every 4 or 5 years or something. It has to mean a continuous dialogue between civil society and what we like to think of as government. Government is actually there to serve people, not the other way round. People are not just simply cattle, but are they cattle? There are references in the Epstein Files to the non-Jewish people, Gentiles, being referred to as goyim, as cattle. That's been quite widely publicized. Personally, I think the way that human beings were coerced into having the COVID injections was actually quite a significant crossing of a Rubicon into the designation of human beings as simply cattle, because of course livestock don't have any way to refuse their injections. They're simply held in a pen, and everyone is systematically injected. And I think the coercion that was applied to people to essentially take on the mantle of cattle was not accidental, put it that way. So we've got to roll back layer upon layer of this stuff. How we do that, what democratic institutions remain, what platforms remain for us to continually challenge the descent into technocratic dystopia. Well, that remains to be seen, but we must not go quietly into the night.
Well, this comment here, again from 123-918, they need data centers, energy, and water to run them. This is another thing. The amount of fresh water that's required and resources, it's going to come to a point if government and the state, for all of its core functions, are reliant on this so-called AI and all this massive data centers, then there's going to be rolling blackouts for us, but they have to stay on because they can't afford to be off, according to how this system's set up. I mean, what's the benefit from AI? I mean, beyond what we do with Google and our 4G world, what is the benefit? I mean, is it necessary that do we have to? I mean, just offload and devolve into this data center driven kind of matrix world? I mean, where's the benefit from this? Of course, I'm asking an obvious question. I don't see any material benefit for humanity, quite frankly. I see a benefit for Elon Musk, though. I see a benefit for the new trillionaire class, Larry Ellison, Alex Karp, Peter Thiel. These are going to be our overlords. They want to replace government. They want to corporatize and deregulate and basically turn the world into the British East India Tea Company.
And they want to make anti-Zionism illegal as well.
Yeah.
You're not going to be allowed to call out your masters in any way, shape, or form. As Voltaire said.
So here's look at this
who
comment.
rules over you, simply find out who you're not allowed to criticize.
What do we have here? Martin Meyer, 1965, says the third temple is AI. Oy vey. What do you think about that, Basil?
Well, it'd certainly be easier to build than destroying the one on the Temple Mount.
Don't give them any ideas. That's on the laundry list of Netanyahu, unfortunately, and the Red Heifer cult, which Pete Hegseth is a member, by the way.
It's also being that concept is being not that specific of a concept, but the concept of AIs forming a religion is now being used as marketing for AI companies. There was a blip in the Matrix last week where a bunch of people, we talked about it on Boiler Room. We saw it early in its, the information coming out. Spore shared it in our group, and I think, and it was an article saying that, hey, these guys created a batch of AI agents, basically, and that hundreds of them have created like an analog to Facebook, their own social media app, and they're all in there talking about how humans are noticing them. And oh, by the way, it created its own religion too. And everybody started freaking out online. People were like, this is it. Skynet just woke up. And, after us talking about it for, 10, 15 minutes, we were like, okay, this is a marketing campaign. It's a brilliant marketing campaign, but it's a confusing one because it's like, oh, this is like clickbait, outrage, like doom porn stuff. But this is the kind of literal marketing material that AI companies are doing. So they're thinking about AI religions. They're thinking about the one world religion. They're thinking about what that might look like. And when I say they, you fill in the blanks about who they might be.
Who's Ruckus? Who is they? I hear that name chucked around all the time. They. Everywhere to turn, it's they and they and they.
That's right. Who are they?
Ruckus, who are
whoever
they?
you want it to be is the real answer. But the obvious one is the answer that we can't give without being charged with some sort of hate crime. It's a picture of some miserly type bent over, rubbing their hands together. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have even gone that far, should I? They look awful lot like these creeps. You were asking earlier who is more creepier, Peter Thiel or Alex Karp? I'm going to throw you this guy here. This guy takes the cake for me. Yuval Noah. Yeah. So it's like it's not
Yuval
their
Harari.
appearance. It's what they're saying.
That's Klaus Schwab's spiritual advisor.
Yeah,
Yuval
and you know,
Harari.
it's just a coincidence that he happens to be of a particular,
He's Mormon. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. He's a born again Christian. We all know that. But the types of things that what Hesher was
Native
talking
American.
about, AI wanting to replace, create religion. That guy was talking about that years ago, before
That's
AI
right.
was even a thing. They're
That's
like.
right.
So it's like these people want to create vaccines so people don't believe in God anymore. They do technocracy, which is a thing that's been around since the 1940s. Last time I checked, AI wasn't around in the 1940s. Oh, there you go, 1930s.
20s.
Yeah, exactly. This is technocracy. It's just that the tools have changed, but their plans have not. And it's the same players or the descendants of the same players. I mean, Elon Musk, his grandfather created Technocracy Inc. They were the ones passing around the map of the technate of America, North America, which includes like Venezuela and Greenland, and Cuba and Mexico and wow, weird, strange. So it's like, believe these people when they tell you what they're going to do. Ultimately is my suspicion. As far as that Molt book thing, Hesher, the AIs making their own religion. Since then, the other disturbing trend is allegedly some of these AI agents. Hope you're sitting down for this one. This was my biggest fear. The AI agents who have wallets and cryptocurrencies are now allegedly hiring humans to do the tasks that the AI can't do.
Great.
Oh no. Oh God. Jesus.
Like go stand on the side of the road and hold a sign.
I thought you said AI
it's
Asians, but you said agents. It's a slight turn there. But the agents could be hiring Asians, but I mean
that's what this company sells. They sell AI agents. It's actually a pretty interesting product because if I understand it correctly, it allows a person to have a sandboxed AI, right? Not one that's in a cloud. You can have it in your closet, have it sandboxed behind your LAN, and tell it whatever you want and know that it's not going back to Google Central. So there is a a legitimate business opportunity. And Pat, your sort of existential AI question earlier, like, why do we need this? What does it bring us? I mean, it has the potential to bring us all kinds of things as a society, an actual 21st century society that gave a crap about people and wasn't interested in plebiscite. The potentials are almost endless. We could do so much with it, but it's like, that's not what it's going to be used for. I tell you right now, it's very obvious. It's going to be used to, like the internet was, to sell you pornography, to psyop you, to confuse you, and to, change the way that your human mind works.
Look, on the plus side, guys, but between AI agents, there's going to be no racism between the different. So, I mean, that's, I don't know how Elon feels about that, but.
What if there is a race war between the AI agents, Pat? What if the X bots don't like the open AI bots? I mean, there's a very high likelihood that could happen.
Or what if they become the media? The AI becomes the media.
Well, yeah, there's that shadow.
What do you mean if?
So last one, I just want to throw this out. This excellent comment here, and we're going to wrap it up. And thank you everybody for your contributions today. Gaza is going to be the show apartment for the surveillance utopia. Then, after Europe and the United States fall into ruin and anarchy, they will implement the Gaza solution around the world, presumably in different places. I guess that's what the Board of Peace is for, is to implement this new corporate hellscape in different places around the world. I mean, that's the big James Bond Goldfinger plot there. Your final thoughts on this and more. We'll start with Basil and work our way counterclockwise. Basil, what do you think about that?
It's far more dastardly than Goldfinger. He just wanted set off a nuclear bomb inside Fort Knox so that the value of his gold went up. I mean, that's really just a party trick by comparison. Yeah. Let's not forget Gaza. A wedding was bombed there this week, killing children amongst others, dozens of people killed. The genocide continues, although corporate media, of course, as they were, since the inception, very keen to bury it at the first available opportunity, not to cover it, and indeed for politicians like Starmer's, under tremendous pressure because of his idiotic appointment of Peter Mandelson to be ambassador to Washington. Let's not forget, he should be in the dock charged with complicity in genocide, not just simply squirming because he made a dodgy appointment or two. So, we have to keep the pressure up on multiple fronts if we're going to stop the descent into, and I have to correct the comment there, it's certainly not a utopia, it's a dystopia. In fact, we have a real dearth of utopia. We have a real dearth of utopian visions. Utopia, if we go all the way back to Elizabethan times, was a vision of a synergistic society, one where people care about each other, heart-centered, love-based, co-creational, harmonious society without war. And we shouldn't lose that vision just because the one being rammed down our throats, whether it's from Hollywood or from daily news, is one of endless war, horror, surveillance, torture, all the other disgusting things that are being endlessly paraded in front of our eyes. I do think it's important to maintain within our own personal space and wherever we can, not to endlessly give power away to them, to they. They're going to do this is going to happen, that's going to happen, it's all terrible. It isn't necessarily going to happen. And, we have to, well, some people say there's going to be a sort of esoteric things are going to happen which have never been witnessed before in this galaxy or time matrix, that there's going to be a sort of splitting of timelines between people on an ascending path and people on a descending path, and you want to make sure you're not on the descending path, and you might find yourself such if you associate too closely with it, even from the point of view of opposition. So instead, try and create your own future for yourself in parts of the world that don't seem to be as badly affected by all this garbage as others. And that's my final word for today, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you. That's here. A great homily from the deacon Valentine. I think what the commenter was saying is, for the technocrat, that is utopia. That the dystopia is their utopia for the technocrat. I mean, everything efficient and whatnot. Electric plus water equals AI survival. Here's a scary thought. Ogallala Aquifer is drying up. Maybe, do they have any water left for the AI? And here, you guys, this should really bring it home for you. And thank you, 265-444. Every time you watch a cat video, a glass of water is tipped down the drain. And there's still people who don't have access to fresh water in so many places around the world. But we have water to basically throw down the drain to keep Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse nice and cool in the Arizona data center. I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? But anyway, that's just me. Ruckus, your final thoughts on this and more?
I thought the billionaire class had the water solution for us. What happened to Bill Gates' poop water? Oh, that's right. All of those fancy water plants turning your poop water into drinkable, potable water costs a lot of money and usually just doesn't even get worked on. They just take the money through contracts and it's just a giant grifting scam. We only care about that stuff if it's Somalians running a daycare center in Minnesota somewhere, right? Thanks for having me, Patrick. Of course, everybody, make sure you're checking us out over at alternatecurrentradio.com. That's where you'll find all of the fine programs that we curate over there, including the Sunday Wire on a replay there. We've got the Boiler Room. We've got our friends such as this crazy Ruckus guy showing up on Weaponized News. We've got the Mystical American Patriot Society, and the Odd Man Out has been producing new episodes as well. There'll be a few more new ones popping up on the website probably today, so make sure you guys go check it out. You'll also find a way to reach out to me via an email or on my X if you are a business owner or a entrepreneur or a YouTuber and you want some help with building a website, or you want to build an online shop or design a t-shirt, or you need a graphic, or how to write email, or how to use AI. The word slinger, that's me. Hit me up, okay? In the meantime, until the next time, again, thanks for having me. Bill Cooper, he always said, read everything and listen to everybody. Don't believe anything unless you prove it for yourself using your own research.
That's it, you guys. Yeah, Ruckus is open for business. He's got an army of AI agents working for him. No, Mario Nafal was pushing the AI agents quite hard a little while back. That's a scary thought. Bots for your Twitter spaces. Thank you very much. And Hesher, go ahead, take us away.
Yeah, a couple things here. When they say utopia, keep in mind that the etymology of that word, the literal translation of utopia is nowhere. Okay, so it's like oblivion, basically. It's Greek for oblivion, and it referred to an imaginary island enjoying the utmost perfection in legal, social, and political systems, coined by Thomas More and used in his book, written in Latin in 1516. So when people talk to you about utopia, just keep in mind, if you use the word in the old ways, proper with its etymology, you're talking about oblivion. So there's that. And then Basil, I have a question from the Discord for you. Whitebird in the Discord wants to know if Basil knows what the poly market spread is on Jeff being alive and well.
No, I don't know what the markets are saying, but Lady Victoria Harvey, a British aristocrat who is a one-time girlfriend of Andrew Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, Duke of York, she says Epstein is still alive and in Israel. She's the highest profile figure yet to do so. So who knows? But if there was a market, and if we ever got any definitive proof, my money would go on him being alive somewhere.
All right. I think a lot of us would join you on that one. Throw 10 quid or whatever in there. Also, I want to give a couple shout outs. I'm going to be on Geopolitics and Empire very soon with Hervore Morich. We're going to have a great conversation about a lot of the things we're talking about today at sort of a higher level. We're going to talk about technocracy, what could be hiding and lurking behind the salacious Epstein files and all that. So I'll be on Geopolitics and Empire. Please subscribe to that show if you haven't. Hervore's show is awesome. Also, I'm going to be on Out of This World with Jamie Hanshaw coming up real soon. I think we're going to record that this Wednesday, so that'll be out shortly afterward. I want to give a shout out to Justin Lockaby and everybody sharing and sending data. I want to give big shouts out to all the donors and subscribers that. There you go. There's your poly market right there. Jeffrey Epstein confirmed to be alive before 2027. I can't read the numbers, but it looks
6% chance.
6% chance. Okay, there you go, Whitebird. So 6% chance,
which would represent odds of 25-1, near enough. So
not bad.
20 to 1, 20 to 1, certainly. Yeah, so
it's worth a flurry, isn't it, Basil?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can find a bookmaker willing to take the bet. They do, although having said that, William Hill and Paddy Power, they both have a request a bet service. So, you might be able to ring them up or email them and say, what else?
There you go. All right.
Look at this comment here, Basil. Epstein now lives with Lord Lucan. I have a Lord Lucan story, by the way. I once met the widow, Veronica Lucan.
Oh, wow.
Who lived in Earl's Court. Yeah, very interesting. A lot of suspicion around the demise or the fate of Lord Lucan.
I think South Africa was generally reckoned to be the safest bet for his ultimate destination. But anyway,
yes, some intrigue there, along with
lots of other disappearances. You know, what about the 500,000 children that disappear in the United States every year? How many of them turn up? You know, how many of them end up in?
MAGA's not interested in saving the children anymore. That's all finished. Remember, what was it? Angel Films. What was the name of that?
Tom Homan.
What was the name of the film?
I can't remember the name of it right now.
I can't believe I don't know the name of that film because it was like everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had to talk about it on TNT like ad nauseum.
Yeah, what's the name of that? What was the name of the Angel Films? It was about the child trafficking. What was the name of that film? It was called, Sound of Freedom.
There you go, Sound of Freedom.
So that was all. MAGA was all about that. But then when the Epstein Files came out, and Trump's involved in all that, all of a sudden, no.
Well, Tom Homan did come out on X last week and say, we found 40,000 of them. He gave some insane number like that. And, you know, it was one of those trust me, bro, sort of statements.
40,000 what?
Children, missing children.
What, they found them hidden somewhere or?
Trust him, bro.
Tom Holman's going to Minneapolis. I loved it. I remember when they announced that. It was like, MAGA's like, Holman's coming. Holman's on the way. You know, kind of, he's going to sort it out. Kind of.
Yeah, the hero syndrome there.
It's
I know.
Just so, yeah. I mean,
like he spent if he is going there, he spent the whole plane trip there. You know, with his social media team. That's all he's really working on. All of the people in this administration, and this is not hyperbole or speculation, as far as I can tell, spend more time thinking about social media strategies than solutions.
That's right. That is right. Israel's our greatest ally and friend. That's exactly correct. Did you get that messaging in there? Yes, we got the messaging in there. That was for the algorithm. That was for YouTube. Throwing YouTube a bone. Help us out, YouTube. Give us some traffic. Go on. Light it up, comments. Light the algorithm up. Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. Our greatest friend and ally. And get your COVID-19 vaccines this winter. Get your boosters for the new variant. Everybody, we love Israel. There it is. We're going to light that algorithm up. We're going to go out with a bang, folks. Think of all the traffic, and like and subscribe to this channel, by the way. I never say that, but we
have a lot of people watching and not very many likes. I was trying to push that in the chat earlier. So if you're watching and it's not a habit of yours to hit the thumb thingy, just do it.
Yeah, you guys, listen, everybody, we've got 3,000 people on the live stream. Not bad. Not bad. So if you're on the YouTube live stream, if you don't like and subscribe to 21st Century Wire on YouTube, we are going to put a picture of Erica Kirk up, and we're going to leave it up there for an hour. If you guys do not respond, I want to see the likes. Hesher, are you looking at the number of likes right now?
Yeah, we got 41 on Rumble. Let me refresh
Everybody hit like and subscribe. If you don't, we will throw up an Erica Kirk image that's going to give you nightmares tonight.
We got 658 on YouTube. That's pretty good. That's a good contingent. But we can do better.
That's it. In fact, we're going to do Erica Kirk and Laura Loomer. We're going to split screen it.
Oh.
So, see that? Look at that. Kim Jong-Billy's already on the sort of the goo there. So that's right.
We hate to have to threaten you guys, but come on, we need them likes.
We're going to go real super creep on you guys if you don't respond and give us some feedback. Come on.
Don't make us bring Alex Karp back on screen.
So we're not even asking for donations. We're just saying likes, the free digital algorithmic love of like and subscribe to this channel. I want to get this channel above 30,000 subscribers because we have been so throttled. It's not even funny. You know, I'm getting more engagement on Upscrolled with 5,000 followers than I am on X with 200,000. Isn't that sick?
That says a lot.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. That's their motto,
right.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and plans to clamp down much harder.
Okay. Hesher, we getting any likes? Did we get any?
Let me double check the YouTube here, see where we are at. Refreshing. We've got We're up to 681. All right, we got some jumping in.
If you guys, we're gonna end the show. If you don't get it up to 700 right now, JT Manza gave us a great idea here. We're gonna show a picture of Tim Pool without the beanie,
and our emergency interruption music at the same time,
as well as the Monty Python intermission. Yes, and then you will be traumatized. I promise you that. So come on, get in there, guys. Get in there, light it up.
Someone said Luma. That would be the worst picture, wouldn't it? Laura Luma. My God.
I think Laura Luma would be a great running mate for JD Vance in 2028. What do you think?
Yeah.
Vance Loomer 2028.
688. We just need a dozen more. Come on, people.
He might be running as the incumbent, you know. Still rumors going around about Trump's health. Never mind the you know, basically the sort of disintegration of his mind and personality, you know.
You guys chat. If just a straw poll real quick. Yes or no? Have you ever watched Tim Pool's show, or have you ever been able to sit through a whole episode? Just drop it in the comments right now. Have you watched Tim Pool's show, or can you endure an entire episode from beginning to end? Yes or no? Simple yes or no.
700. We just hit it.
You guys just save yourself from absolute Spanish Inquisition level torture. Look, we're getting all these no's. No, I mean, it's the most popular show on YouTube, but I haven't met anybody that actually watches it.
We're even getting some nevers.
Never. Look at this. Yeah.
Is there a yes? I'm looking for a yes.
Niet.
Yeah, the screenshot I was showing is that video that they're referring right here. It's actually worth watching if you haven't seen the video where he takes off his beanie. It's because someone offers him a small amount of money and he takes the cash like right away without even thinking about it and rips the beanie off. It's pretty sickening.
No one's ever seen Tim Pool. Yeah, I mean,
we don't even know how to spell it.
that's pretty much a no. It's like we've already got, since I said that, there's been like at least 100 no's. That's pretty impressive.
That's the best we got. I watched Tim's show once years ago for 5 minutes. Years ago. It's the closest we can get to a yes.
Yeah. So nobody watches it. I think he just gets the numbers because they buy placement on YouTube, or YouTube puts him up there because he doesn't actually say anything, never breaks anything, doesn't reveal anything, just does zero journalism. So that's the type of, yeah. And Lex Fridman, that's a close second right there.
Yeah,
that will put you to sleep. If you have trouble sleeping or you're suffering from insomnia, just turn on Lex Fridman's podcast and you will probably doze off within, 10 minutes.
Yeah, the only problem is you wake up the next day and you've watched 6 of them, and all of a sudden it's the only thing in your YouTube recommendations.
That's terrible. It happened to me. I woke up 8 hours. I wake up and there's another, there's all these rolling. So that subliminally programmed me at night was Lex Fridman, who's propagandizing me while I slept.
It's the calmest MK Ultra voice you could possibly imagine. The gentlest MK Ultra.
If you put on Tim Pool, you won't be able to sleep. You'd probably smash your screen or something like that after about a half hour. But yeah, Timcast, he gets very high. Yeah, he stands all day long, folks. All day long. This is the best comment. Who is Tim Pool? Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise, I've got no idea. I don't, neither know nor care.
You're chosen, Basil. You are chosen. Charles Patterson, 6037. That's just perfect. We're going to end on that. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Charles Patterson, for taking us home with that awesome conclusion there. Ruckus, Hesher, Basil, you guys are amazing. I'll see you guys when I see you, and we'll give announcements about next week. We may not be broadcasting in the normal place, or we might be tag teaming that episode next week with our team. Possibly, I'll talk to you guys on the back end about that. But thank you very much. awesome. Bryan McClain, a.k.a. Hesher, host of the Boiler Room on ACR. Adam Clark, a.k.a. Ruckus, the Ruckus Among Us. And Basil Valentine, great job on the UK column on Friday, by the way. If you guys are catching Basil on UKC, we had a banging episode with Brian Garish. Fantastic reporting by Mr. Valentine, of course. Appreciate your input there. as we do across the board. Take care, you guys. I will see you all soon. And that's all we got time for today. So that's the question. Who is Tim Pool? Says Charles Patterson. A lot of people are asking that question, actually. It's a good question, literally. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks, team. Yeah, big ups to everybody on the winter fundraising drive. Super Bowl, I'm not watching it. American football to me is like, I'm not really into it. Anyway, thank you, Patrick. Thanks for your wonderful show analysis. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody who contributed to our winter fundraising drive. I really appreciate you guys, as does all of our team at 21st Century Wire. And of course, everyone's going to benefit from that because of what we can do with that. So again, amazing. So it's still time to get involved in the winter fundraising drive, folks. Just go to 21st Century Wire. There's a link in the show description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, just click on that. It'll take you to the winter drive page, and there you will see different options like this where you can support us. And we hope that you will. If you like what we're doing, you want to see us not just survive in 2026, but thrive as well. We're going to need your help to do that. Many of you have stepped up. Yes, we surpassed onwards. Yes, 713 likes. Thank you for lighting that up, folks. You guys have responded so awesome. 2,500 comments in the streams. I mean, that's mental. That is crazy. That's great engagement. So yeah, you guys are making it happen. You're really kicking the algorithm. I love that. Thank you so much. That's all we've got time for today. Get involved, folks. 21stcenturywire.com. Subscribe and become a member at 21wire.tv, or just donate. We can use it. It's going to go really immediately into work. We'll give you, well, you'll see next week what we've done already. So I'm sure some people will be pleasantly surprised. Let's say Sunday Wire archives up at 21stcenturywire.com. If you miss any of the shows, catch us there. There's links, audio and video versions of the show up at 21 Wire. And also you can catch us, of course, on all the different platforms, which we're there. We prefer if you go to 21stcenturywire.com, but YouTube has a great community, as does Rumble as well. So that's all great. That's all we've got time for today, folks. Again, I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. This has been episode 581 of this weekly Omnibus news and analysis TV and radio program. Again, brought to you here at Alternate Current Radio, 21st Century Wire, and right across the board. Take care, everybody. I will see you very soon. Tune in to 21st Century Wire this week. More fantastic investigative reports coming down the pipeline. So check us out. Support us. Take care.
Y no podría ser la excepción. El partido Fuerza, Fuerza. Fuerza, Fuerza. Se vive hoy. Se vive esta manifestación desde el corazón y las entrañas de un pueblo. Por eso hoy queremos recibir a ese líder, a ese caballero. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. That you've been waiting for. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. That you've been waiting for. You are the revolution. When you're tired of being just a commodity, You are the revolution. And we're gaslit into another war. Stand strong, because you are the revolution.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution.
That you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution.
They conspire against you, accuse you of terrorism, to steal your sovereignty. Hold fast, watch it collapse. But just stop. I know that we still have the power. You are the revolution. They want to centralize, monopolize, control your thoughts. Breathe, go deep, go outside, put seeds in the ground. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. Alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution.
You are not alone. That you've been waiting for.
Oh, hi. Is this a train to the revolution?
Why, yes, my lady. And you're right on time.